They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is my bro, Sgt McClusky. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Long time no see.
Yeah, man. We say it every week, but it's like the show ends, and I'm like, all right, another week down. I was like, it'll be 6 days or 7 days before we do this again. It's like, hey, it's Thursday. It's like, what happened?
If you blink.
Yeah, what happened? We're already at Thursday again. It goes so freaking fast. What's going on, chat? On today's show, we're going to be talking about Baldur's Gate and Larian Studios. We're going to be talking about Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto 6. We're going to be talking about Bethesda and Starfield. We're going to be talking about Microsoft and a couple of games that they've been doing. We have things we're going to talk about from the Hitman developers. We're talking about their project for 007. We're going to talk about Star Wars. The Old Republic finally gets a massive server update. We're going to be talking about the Xbox Series S a little bit. We're going to be talking about South Park finally coming out with a new game called South Park Snow Day. We're going to talk about the developers, the producer, and the director of Final Fantasy 16 and 14, that they want one console. They would like everyone to just be on one console. We're going to talk about DC Universe Online, confirms a big update later this year. We're going to talk about Starfield. The show is called 2 weeks before Impact. Right now, review codes went out to a bunch of people. There was a Q&A yesterday about Starfield. I want to kind of go over some of the Q&As with Sarge and get his thoughts on it. We're going to talk about NBA 2K24, or as I like to call it, microtransaction basketball, right? So this just came out before we started the show a couple hours ago. 2K24 is now implementing a season pass with 3 different levels, and the game costs anywhere between $70 all the way up to $150. So we'll talk about this as well. All on today's show. You guys can watch us live Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on 30NSG. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button. If you liked it even more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live every single day, Monday through Thursday, for morning shows that we do, for this podcast that me and Sarge do on Thursday nights, and our Let's Plays that we do Monday through Wednesdays on 30NSG as well. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and anywhere else a podcast is formed. And you can also watch us over on Spotify as well. So appreciate it very much. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5, and it does help us out here to continue making content for you guys. So
what's that new emote you have? What is that?
That is a cover-based shooter. That's me in a blanket with a gun laying up next to me, so anytime I play a shooting game, if I don't cover and I forget to cover, it's a cover-based shooter. That's the reminder of 30. It's a cover shooter.
Are you playing so many cover-based shooters that you needed an emote for it?
Well, we play a lot of shooting games, right? We play a lot of first-person shooter games. And they're not all cover-based shooters, but every time I play a game, I'm playing Transformers, and I'm like hiding behind the wall, and I'm just shooting that, and they're like, it's a cover base. Yeah. So, hey, not too bad. I do all my own emotes. Right?
It looks like a Squidbilly thing. That's what it looks like.
What's a Squidbilly? What is that?
It's a show from Cartoon Network from back in the day. I think it was Nickelodeon originally. Then it went to Cartoon Network. Squidbillies is a bunch of redneck squids.
I have to look
this up.
You've
never seen Squidbillies?
What year did it come out?
Oh God, got to be out for like 10 years.
Okay, I've seen it, never watched it. Okay, what year? Squidbilly, 2005.
Yeah, dude, a long time.
Yeah,
ago.
2005. Yeah, no, I was.
It wasn't out for 1 year. It was out for a long time.
No, I 13 seasons, but it came out in 2005. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the film industry then, and I was traveling and and working, so I didn't watch a lot of TV between that time. So
Yeah,
yeah, I've never seen it. So Squidbillies. Okay. All right, Sarge. Every single week we go to what have we been playing. So let me do the little key up here, and then we'll get to it.
I think it's called transition. What's the lingo? What's the lingo for that?
For what? For it's a stinger.
Yeah. The little thing that tells you what's coming up next. That's called a stinger.
You like the thing that's playing right now? That's called a stinger. Yeah, it's
called a stinger.
Yeah, it's a transition. It's a stinger. Yeah. All right. So another week goes by, Sarge. What have you been playing?
All right. So since I've been playing Hell Let Loose in a community now,
okay,
I found out there's a subgroup inside the Hell Let Loose group.
A group with inside the group.
Yeah.
All right, we're going 2 layers into Hell Let Loose group.
Yeah, they play Battlefield 5. Okay. And so I caught it in the Discord and I said, you guys play Battlefield 5 on Wednesdays? And they're like, yeah, Wednesdays and Sundays. I said, so you play one day off and then one day
I thought they did Sunday. I thought they did Hell Let Loose Sundays.
They do, but this group plays this game.
Oh, I got you.
Otherwise, there's so many people that would be playing Hell Let Loose, they couldn't get them all on the same server.
Gotcha.
Right? So they divide it up. They alternate.
The subset.
So if 1 week you feel like playing Battlefield instead of playing Hell Let Loose, you can jump in on Sunday. Right? So I joined them on Wednesday night, and I haven't played. First of all, it wasn't even on my hard drive. So I had to re-download it on my hard drive, redo all the patches.
Okay.
And like I am rusty. Like I've been playing Hell Let Loose for so long, trying to play Battlefield 5. How
it's
fast
like you're on
it is.
speed. Yeah, it's like you're on speed.
Yeah, bro, it was harsh. It was harsh reality trying to adjust for that, right? However, right, I have your clan tag still, and so I'm playing a couple matches, and I was like, I was kind of all right. And he's like, hang on, we have to change your clan tag. So I leave the game, we change my clan tag, we come back in. All of a sudden, it's a completely different game because they see your name with the clan tag next to it.
So now they respect you.
Right. All of a sudden, like medics appear out of nowhere. You get tank cover. You get tank cover. You get smoke thrown at you. Like all kinds of stuff was happening. Like so for a good 2 hours,
you were suffering. You were suffering.
No, it was like first half hour, 40 minutes.
Oh,
I was suffering.
I got you.
Yeah. Then after that, for the next 2.5 hours, you're crushing people. Like just crushing them. Like at one point, they were like, they can't take the first point. Everybody switched to pistols. I was like, what? what did you? What was that? Was that an order? Right? And there was 16 people.
Was it to make it easier for them to hit the point?
Yes. Okay. That's what they do. Everyone switches to pistols, gives them a chance to come in and take the point.
I got you.
Right. Yeah. So on the Xbox party, max people. I think it was like 16.
Yeah,
like 16 people could be in the party.
Or 16, something like that. Yeah.
So there's 16 people in my head. I heard maybe 3 people. Yeah, because I identify. Nobody talks. They only say what they have to say. Yeah, that's it.
That's what I liked about when I did play with that group that I'm not in anymore. I liked it because they didn't just bullshit. You would just play the game, enjoy the game, and there was some chit chat going back and forth. But when there was gameplay going on, it was just what you needed to hear, and that's it. It was fantastic. Okay,
so the Battlefield moment was we're doing I forget the name of the map, but the map is Iwo Jima. I don't think it's called Iwo Jima. It's called something else.
Okay.
Something Storm, I think is what it's called. I forget the name of the map. So it's the Iwo Jima map. We're the Americans, right? So as the countdown's kicking off, like the lead guy goes, okay, squad 1 this, squad 2 this, squad 3 this, squad 4 this, squad 5 this. I'm like, what squad am I? I'm thinking to myself, what squad? I forget what squad I was in, right? And then you hear check, 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 right? The match starts, right? It's like watching like a movie or documentary type thing of them talking about something. Like you see like 27 guys just run all at the same time. Like they jump into the LCVs, two guys jump onto the AA guns, the two planes take off, right? And I'm like looking around, I'm
like
like
a well-oiled
holy
machine.
like,
Yeah.
like a machine, right?
Yeah.
The Higgins boat's going towards the beach, right? Before anyone can breathe on the other team, there's full force fire. Like there's AA guns and every machine gun is going off. Like the Japanese plane had no chance. Like he came in to try to strafe like a Higgins boat.
Right.
Completely nuked. Right. The Higgins boats hit the beach. The tanks jump off. The planes bomb the beach. Right. Took over the first point like 5 minutes. Right.
That's great.
Then you hear Squad 1 this, Squad 2 this, Squad 3 this, Squad 4 this. It's like, oh shit, they're not fucking around. These guys aren't fucking around. That was the most insane battle I have played in a Battlefield game, right? Where even though people are like, it was like watching one of those really ridiculous war movies where you feel sadness inside, right? The fighting was so intense. Like guys everywhere, like literally they would be moving together, like two guys would die, those three would kill those two, one guy would jump with a grenade, kill that guy, and like there'd be like one guy left and he's like, I'm waiting for respawn, right? And then the guys would respawn on him and then they'd push again. He wouldn't go anywhere. If he was the last guy,
that's
he
what
would
I
just
do.
sit and wait. He would just sit and wait. Bro, trying to take Mount Sarabachi, it was okay. We broke the game. The last 10 seconds, everybody's on the point. We couldn't take it. It got down to the last tick of what color the actual thing was going to be. The clock, you can't see nothing. The ground basically is just explosions because everybody's calling all the artillery down at the same time. So nobody can move. And all you hear is medics throw smoke, try to revive as many as you can. And so all you hear is explosions. You can't see anything because all there is smoke. Right, guys are shooting in the smoke like it's complete chaos.
See, I miss this stuff.
We win. No time on the clock. But it doesn't say we win. But it doesn't say we lose. We zeroed out the clock, but we took over the point. But it doesn't say. It says nobody won. I'm like, I don't know what the hell we call that. What do you call that?
That's great.
Some guy inside's going, someone better call Dawes. You know, the guy from Hacksaw Riggs? The Hacksaw Ridge guy? Yeah. Bro. Oh, man. So good.
Yeah. See,
so good.
I want to... I got to make a date, but the days that don't align, I got to find someone that like plays a game on like Friday night.
You're free Wednesday?
Well, yeah, Wednesdays when we're not playing Division. Right. We play Division.
We're playing a whole lot of Division.
No, we play on Wednesdays. Me and you play on Wednesdays, right? If you want to do that
every 6 weeks when they come out with a damn mission. Otherwise, no one's playing
like
Division.
Every other week. Yeah.
I'm playing Division. Like right now, I'm playing Division.
Like it just I don't have time to jump in. Like I want to even go check out Battlefield 2042's next update that's coming out for Season 6. Not that it's a story, but they got their first map, Sarge. They got their first new map in 23 months because they took 23 months to fix all the other maps. But what other games you been playing? Just Battlefield. How is Battlefield 5 right now? How is besides you playing with a group? How is Battlefield 5?
Okay, well, I had a long talk with a couple of guys who were playing the game, and they know the guys. There's two guys that play the game that know the developers, and they said this is the saddest a game ever is because they were going to release the Eastern Front maps. They were going to release the Russians versus the German stuff. And because the whole game exploded and they didn't, and their roadmap wasn't conducive to what they were getting paid for microtransactions,
right?
That they just dropped it.
Yeah, and they moved on to 2042. Yeah,
and they moved on to 2042. And look what a gem that was.
Yeah.
And they said the developers weren't happy at all. They wanted to go back and finish it because the guns are in the game. Like the guns for the Russians and the things were already placed. They were in the game. They just never finished it. Right. And so the game right now still isn't finished. It's a game that's 2 games ago, not finished.
Yeah. Do you know what I watched this past weekend? I didn't play, but I watched some Foxhole gameplay. Right. And man, that game has changed.
It's too much.
Yeah. That game has changed
it's too much logistics. It's too much logistics. Now I can't enjoy myself.
Yeah, it's literally like a battle. It's literally a war. It's a giant map now. It's not like little maps. It's one giant map with certain areas being attacked, and they all merge. And it takes days. to do
It's,
yeah.
yeah, it's too much. It's too much logistics, right? One other point. So I'm playing Division.
Okay.
I'm playing Battlefield. I'm
Yep.
playing Hell Let Loose.
Yep.
Right. Those are the three major games. I'm playing a couple of things on Game Pass, trying some stuff out to see what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on Game Pass. I'm playing a couple of those things. Nothing worth mentioning. But you know how you play the Battlefield version where they attack you and you have to defend, and
Yeah.
if you lose the two, it's basically like the what they call the MCOMs
The
from
rush.
from the
It was rush.
Rush,
Yeah.
right? It's basically Rush, but in reverse, right? You're not attacking; they're attacking, but you're defending, type of thing. But they're not blowing anything up.
Oh,
You just
yeah,
have to
it's not. That's
you
not
have to
rush.
take
You
the-
don't have to plant
you have
bombs.
to take the point,
You gotta take the point.
right? But you're still
Yeah.
taking the point. It's still 2 points. You got to take it. It's still Rush. Let's be honest. It's still Rush. So as soon as the match started, they're all throwing down ammo crates and they're immediately building. They don't. No one does anything else, but they're like they had the base fully defended with mines and AT guns and shit around the. It was insane. It was insanity. It was insanity. Every time if we lost the point, it was down to the last 3 or 4 guys of their ticket count before they would win it, and then at the last point, we would hold them off all the way to the end.
I love matches like that.
It's so good. That's what a Battlefield game is about.
Yeah, that's the moments I miss. There's I forget what in Battlefield 2042 they put a new game mode in. It's much more intense than the other one that was there for the last year, and it feels so good because at times the matches become so close and you're like holding a point and you're just trying to and it feels good. It's like it's coming back to life, but it's still a shame. I've been playing a little bit more of Baldur's Gate 3. Last week I talked about I was in a puzzle room for like 15 minutes. I went back to that puzzle room and I sat there for another 45 minutes trying to figure out a puzzle. I don't think because I backed out of that room and went to a different room later in this underground base I was in, and I found another sort of puzzle thing that might go with the other one. So I was trying to figure it out. I'm like moving it around. I was like, man, this is good. So I marked it on my map because you can open up your map, and I marked it and I said I'll come back to it later. You can actually like mark a point and say hidden thing, check back later, make a note, and you put it on your map. I'm methodically, slowly going around, and before I rush into a battle now, I kind of like sit back and kind of see if I can see some people. And then what I do is, because you can kill people without going into battle, okay? So you can sneak around, and if I found like a goblin off on the edge of a cliff, I'll like sneak up behind him, and then I just shove him off the cliff, right? And then he falls to his death. And then I move up slowly to another guy, and I try to do something. And if he's in range, you get a sneak bonus, and then you hit them, and then you're doing more damage and whatnot. So I'm getting better at the overall combat system. And then there's just stuff that I'm just trying out, going into these conversations with people and seeing what they say. It's a freaking blast, man. I'm only like 10 hours in. Right? I'm only 10 hours in. I'm doing really small little bursts of it, and I don't care if it takes me 2 years to finish it. I honestly, I've done a new leaf. I'm going to be doing it with Starfield as well. I'm not playing the game to beat the game. I'm playing the game to immerse myself in that world. Okay? So I'm doing it's very hard for me to do, but I'm really enjoying Baldur's Gate for what it is. And now I'm really excited for Starfield when it comes out, because the way I'm playing Baldur's Gate is probably the way I'm going to play Starfield. I don't care about doing point A to point B, do the story. I want to just be my character and be in the world of Starfield and see what happens, right? So I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, loving that. I played a little bit of the Starship Troopers again with the... There's times I play that game, man, and it's so much fun just because the banter back and forth with the proximity chat and people running. People are starting to get so, I guess, used to the game that what you just explained, like how you described in Battlefield 5 with the group that you're in, there's people calling out shots like they're like, okay, we need someone to go here. All right, put this up. All right, save this. Don't do this. And I like the organization like that when you play with someone like that, right? And then when we go, once the wave is done with the new horde mode and everyone's ready to go, they're like, all right, this is the last wave. After we get this, meet over here on the side corner, and we're all going to run together. And they all move together. And I played a couple of games where literally we don't lose one person because that group is communicating, and I really like the cooperation stuff like that in games like this, right? So I'm playing a little bit of that. And then I did a throwback. Last week we played Transformers the Fall of Cybertron, and this week, or I'm sorry, the War of Cybertron, and this week we're playing the Fall of Cybertron. And god damn, dude, I love those Transformers games. They are so good. I love that you can play all the different characters. I mean, obviously you can't choose and pick, but like you play that chapter.
You have to find enough faces you can unlock the other guys.
Yeah. This from War of Cybertron to Fall of Cybertron, High Moon just stepped up their game. Like they made, and this is what we talk about all the time, right? You make a game and you set that bar for it, right? Talking about like Baldur's Gate and how people are like, you can't expect us to do this type of stuff, right? High Moon set the bar with that Transformers game, the War of Cybertron. And then 2 years later, when they came out with the Fall of Cybertron, they hit that bar and then they exceeded that bar. Because inside the Fall of Cybertron, right? I basically haven't played it in 13 years, right? Or 11 years. And it's fantastic. The graphics I don't look at it and go, oh, it's 30 frames per second. I can't play the game. You know what I mean? Like, I just look at the game and I'm just like, this is beautiful. It's beautiful. And I have it for PC. I didn't play it on stream.
Imagine looking at that with the graphics you know about today.
Yeah, and I think we might get it. I think down the road, if Activision's smart and Hasbro lets them remaster it or maybe put them out at a higher end for the new gen systems, that'd be awesome if they did that, right? But the game is just so good. Like the leveling process that you do in the game now, where you can level up your guns and then upgrade the guns and upgrade your abilities and stuff. I love the story that's going on with it. I mean, obviously, if you're a fan of the 80s cartoon, this leads up to like, it's just like Star Wars, where Star Wars never talked about the Clone Wars in 4, 5, and 6, right? They just mentioned it in a line of it. Oh, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars. When you watch the first original Transformers, they always went back and show that little glance of Cybertron, but you never really knew what Cybertron was until later in the seasons. You know what I mean? So this is like living that before they get to Earth, and it's just a cool thing. The whole downfall of what happened in Cybertron, and then the characters you see and you can relate to, as far as like you're like, oh, that's Bumblebee, that's Cliff Jumper, that's Soundwave, and it's just they've done such a good job. So right now we're in chapter 10 of 13. We'll probably finish it on Friday, tomorrow night. But what a blast, man! Those games are fantastic. I'm really glad I picked it up, and then I started doing information because I never bought the third game, right? The Rise of the Dark Spark, which was the third game by High Moon Studios, but it wasn't connected with this game, like with these two games. It was sort of like it, but it wasn't.
You're talking about Devastation.
No. This is another game that was called Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark. It was a cross between like what these games are. It was supposed to be like they're on Earth, okay? And it's during the Michael Bay era, though. Like Optimus Prime looks like Michael Bay. It's not very good. It's the lowest level one of the three. And then Devastation came out after that, right? And Devastation's another fucking.
Devastation is straight up the 80s cartoon.
Yeah, G1 cartoon. Form. It's so good.
In game form.
Yeah. So if anybody's out there, and it's super hard to get these games.
You do realize that Transformers IP, if done correctly, could very well be the next Destiny.
Oh, for sure.
Or next Division.
There's okay, we're done with what we've been playing. Let me move on to top stories. Let's move on to top stories. All right. So right now there's a little info drop from Transformers Reactivate, right? There's two well-known leakers in the industry that I've been watching now for the last almost full year, right? Since last year when they announced at the Video Game Awards show and people started coming out, there's two people. We talked about both those streamers. We talked about Robo1 Gamer HD or Robo Gamer 1 HD, and then the other one's DPZ Luna, right? I watched both of their content, and up until just a couple of days ago, they've always had around about the same type of info from this. Now, this is take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to say that one's wrong, one's right in any way, shape, or form. But what I am saying is that just a couple days ago, Robo1 came out and said that they're in development hell. And he made his case of why they're in development hell. We haven't heard anything. And apparently, because it's all rumor, right? So I'm just giving you his rumor and then the other person's. There's no confirmation for either side, right? So one comes out and says that they're in development hell, and these are the reasons they're in development hell, okay? And people are saying it's delayed, it's delayed. I said, when I first saw that video, I was like, how can it be delayed if it's never been said when it's coming out, right? They've never said an actual delay. So I was like, it's not delayed because they didn't say like Starfield said it was coming out 11/11, and then it was delayed, right? And now here we are just 2 weeks away.
If you don't have a date, it's
not delayed, right? Then they also said they were also going to have a closed beta in 2023. Okay. Now we're in August. We're halfway through August. And I said, well, it's still not the end of the year. We still have a couple months. So it could be the last day of 2023. And they put it out and say, there you go, closed beta 2023. It's there. Right. So I hear what he's saying. And I'm like, all right, well, it could be possible, potentially. Then he says that they're in development hell because of the porting from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. Okay. And then I reach out to DPZ Luna. He doesn't get back to me. Instead, he just makes a video before he even gets back to me, right? And I didn't think he was going to get back to me, but I reached out to him. And then he came out with a video and said, look, you can't delay something if it's never been said, which I said, okay? Then he said that the job postings that are on their website is there because they have multiple games in development that they're doing, right? They're doing a game with Sacriel and Shroud. It's called a Stare or a Star or something like that. It's like a first-person shooter game. They have another game that they're working on as well. Bulkhead's working on a game, and they're working on Transformers Reactivate. So last year when they talked about the game, we went to their website and we looked at it because they were hiring people. We went to the job postings, and every time we picked on a job posting, it would say lead designer for Transformers Reactivate and whatnot, and they were hiring people then. So you go there now, and I went through each of the categories. Not one hire says it's for Transformers. Now, twofold here. It could be because they don't say it because it's just generalistic hire and they work on anything, right? It's not for that specific game. They're just whatever, right? Or they usually don't say if it's a secret game that you don't know about yet because they haven't announced it to the public and they don't put the title of what game it is. You're just hired for the company and then they put you on a game, okay? We already know about Transformers Reactivate, right? So I personally don't think they're trying to hide anything like, oh, we're having trouble. They hired new people for the actual positions, and I think they're still hiring because it's a live service game, and they're working on more content to come down the road, right? Because that's what a live service game is. So Luna says that the Unreal Engine, he goes, this is false, factual false. They started working on the Unreal Engine in October of last year to port it over from 4 to 5, and they finished it in July, early July of this year. So they're done porting it over from 4 to 5. So he goes, that's false information. Now, I don't know how Robo1 has information. I do kind of know how Luna has it because he's play tested the game. He said he played an older build on the Unreal Engine 4 engine. He says that I think he lives about 2 hours away from the studio where the other person lives across the ocean. Doesn't really mean anything, but one I feel has the right information and one has kind of, just trying to tote the wagon because they're both YouTubers. They're both trying to make just like me. They're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to make some information about themselves. So I said, this is interesting. I said, especially coming from Transformers, right? Optimus Prime has that famous line, one shall stand, one shall fall, right? They're both going in. They're both leakers of this game. They both had the exact same type of information up until this point. Now there's a split. One says it's delayed, it's in hell, and one says that it's not in hell, that it's still doing its thing because it is what it is. And I was like, man, this is poetic because now one of these guys is full of shit, right? One of these guys is going to look bad, and the other one is going to look good because of the information they're giving. And I just think it's very interesting, especially when a game like this comes out. Now, it's not a huge, a lot of people are not following Transformers, not like they're following Starfield or like Grand Theft Auto, right?
You would be following Transformers if Starfield and Spider-Man weren't coming out.
Right. Now, Creature says, would they be going to Gamescom to delay with no release date? Now, here's the thing. The company never said they're going to Gamescom, but one of the heads of Splash Damage in his Twitter profile, or not even profile, in the name, says his name, and then it has a blue arrow, and it's pointing towards Gamescom. So he's going to Gamescom, which is next week on the 22nd, on Tuesday, right? So this time next week, we could be reporting that there's more information about Transformers Reactivate, or there's no. I personally think my gut is telling me, just like my gut told me about a lot of different things, but my gut tells me that they are going to make an announcement. If that's at Gamescom on video, if they show a trailer, if they in a report, like an article where they interview with somebody, if they post something on Twitter, something's going to come out and say maybe new information about it. If they release the date of the closed beta, if they, I don't know. I just feel like something's going to come out either next week or for the award show, right? Which is 1 year after the last time we saw a trailer from them. So obviously I'm a little biased because I'm a Transformer fan and I want to see some more information about it because I want to get excited for it, right? I don't think it's in development hell just because all the work that was done before, and yes, they reworked all of what Certain Infinity did and Digital Extremes did, right? But they've had it now, Splash Damage, it's been in their hands for at least 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, okay? It's a live service game, and I know people don't agree with me here, but most games take 3 to 5 years to make. And in my theory that I've always said is games that take 3 to 5 years usually release, if it takes 5 years, they release it at 3 and then work on it.
And they keep working on it.
And they keep working on it for the 2 while it's released to everybody.
Just like the Battlefield game.
Right. Just like any other game we've seen now with the early access beta or whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at Gamescom next week. I really do hope we hear about something, any kind of news of Transformers Reactivate. But to say, if we don't hear any news, am I going to be disappointed? Sure. But I think that's also a good thing, though. Because if you don't hear any news and you still know they're working on the game, right? That means they're taking their time with the game, so that could be better because we always say, shut up unless you have something to say. And if they have nothing to say, then they're shutting up and they're just working on the game until they have something to say. So that's what I'm taking from it. So one of the guys is going to be right. One of the guys is going to be wrong. I like both their content. I like both information that they've been giving, but it's just funny that right up to this point now, I'm like, who's going to be right? Who's going to be wrong?
I think they probably should show some type of trailer, some kind of gameplay,
Something
with some kind of music, just something to say, hey, by the way, we're still
here.
That's it. That's it. Just get people thinking about it because we already know the entire explosion that's going to happen when Starfield comes out. Then you have Spider-Man coming out. November? Is Spider-Man coming out?
October. Spider-Man comes out.
October.
Yeah.
Right. So they're right on top of each other. Right. Like, so it's going to be all talk about those things, and like other games will come out, but those will be the 2 ones. And by the way, these aren't games that you can probably knock out in a week. Like, no. I'm sure people will be playing Spider-Man 2 and Starfield for quite a while.
Yeah. Real quick, Magic. No, he didn't make a video just respond to me specifically. Soon as Robo made his video, I was like hearing the stuff that he said, and I went, you know what? Let me check because they're both saying the exact same stuff. So I was part of Luna's stream last year. He invited me on this stream or whatever, and he said a whole bunch of stuff, and we got to ask questions and whatnot. So I reached out to him in a Discord message. He didn't get back to me. I made that message right after I saw the video with Robo. It was like, I don't know, minutes after I watched the video. He posted his video the next day responding to some of the stuff I asked, and also probably other people in his community asked, right? Hey, Robo made this video. What do you have to say? So he came out with his side of it. So I don't think anyone's full of shit. I think people are fed certain things, right? I don't think either of the content creators are saying stuff out of bullshit. I think that they have information given how they got it, if they know it themselves, if they play tested, if an ex-developer said something, if they got leaked documents, whatever. They're telling what they have. I think that one person claimed one thing, one person claims the other. They're both different. So one person is going to be right and one person is going to be wrong. I just thought it was funny because just based on Transformers. So, all right. Speaking of kick-ass games that are already out, right? So, Baldur's Gate 3, Sarge. Baldur's Gate 3 has been out for 2 weeks now, or actually 3 weeks now. And Larian Studios had to patch Baldur's Gate 3 save files to be infinite size to account for all the sheer amount of things you're able to doing on your journey. Okay, so real quick, let me read this for you. Right, just over a week from launch, people at Baldur's Gate 3 subreddit elsewhere are already discussing having to complete the game despite running around 120 hours long. So clearly, more than a few of you have been taking some cheeky sick days hanging into there. Meanwhile, it took me 5 hours and decided what class to play. Now, let me scroll down here. This small hotfix follows a larger patch release earlier this week and smoothed over bugs, including missing gnome underwear. There's a penis popping out of the trousers, right? They save files. A bug seems very tamed in comparison immediately with the polish. Now, Lorien, delighted with the reputation of Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, the servers were supposed to hold 100,000 people on opening day, Sarge. They had 8 times that. They had 800,000 people instead of 100,000 people. And they were prepared how much people were going to play it. Turns out, if you made too many choices and actions, your personal story database could grow so large it broke the save system. And the developers had to release a hotfix to nip the problem in the bud, given that players were likely to show restraint anytime soon. The solution was a uncapped size of database, allowing you to grow infinitely, or at least as big as your time on your hard drives allowed. What do you think about this, Sarge? As far as infinite room to save your game, infinite room. As long as your hard drive's big enough, you can load it up as much as you want with the save data.
I know why you're trying to bait me here, but I'm not going to go off on a tangent. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. I think
Come on, bro.
I already know that this is a bait. This is a bait question. I'll just say this: if you program the game to do what it is you're going to do with it, then you knew why you needed to do it. I'm not calling you out, Diablo 4, but you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So they know that there's so much crap in the game that you have to have an unlimited save file in order just in case, right? It's designed that way. So they put in a mechanic because of the design. To be the other side and say, well, we just didn't think about it. You're a lying sack of shit.
Right, not Baldur's Gate, folks. He's talking about Diablo and Blizzard.
Diablo 4. Yeah. You know exactly what you're doing. I
thought it was funny with the save file, infinite save file.
I think somebody who writes the article is definitely baiting that exact argument without saying it at all, and I think that's the sign of a good writer. You know, when you throw stones, but you don't announce who you're throwing the stones at, but your words say who you're throwing the stones at without saying the person, that's good writing.
Well, Waters even saying it. He said infinite saves, but what if you run into someone else and have a load up all their saves that they did, right? Like you have to.
It's a paradoxal infinity versus infinity. The game will crash. Like, please stop.
Or how about this, Sarge? How about when Destiny says the game's too big? The game's too big. Yeah, we can't save the game's too big.
All the catchphrases over the last 9.5 years, I laughed every single time. You and I both laughed every single time Bungie and the Destiny team opened up their mouth with these stupid statements. Game's too big. Nobody wants it. All the catchphrases that we use. We even had a bingo game one night when they did a when they did a Bungie. What was it called?
This Week in Bungie. The big no, it wasn't This Week in Bungie.
Like when they were going to release something,
they do their little videos,
like a developer talk, right? We used to have a bingo card on which phrases they would say this time. Like
we did that as well with Marvel's Avengers as well. All right, so sticking with Baldur's Gate, right? Baldur's Gate 3 is now the highest rated PC game of all time. Okay. So Baldur's Gate 3 is now the highest rated PC game of all time, having seized the title some 10 days into its market debut. This development shouldn't come as a surprise, not at least because Diablo 3, Jesus Christ. Baldur's Gate 3 already became the highest rated new game of 2023 across all platforms. While the first 2 installments of the iconic franchise put BioWare on the map as a developer ambitious story-driven role-playing games, the third entry was handled by an RPG veterans of Lorien Studios, who licensed the Dungeons & Dragons IP to Baldur's Gate, based off the Wizard of Coast, and the developer switched end up by being entirely seamless with the newly released game, thus completing an incredible consistent of Baldur's Gate trilogy. Now, in yet another testament of that, the universal critical acclaim Baldur's Gate 3 just became the highest rated PC game of all time, boasting an overall critic score of 97 on Metacritic. while Disco Elysium and Final Cut also managed to reach that figure. Larian's RPG outranks that of the ZA and UM in virtue of having 16 more reviews as of August 14th. This milestone was widely expected amongst the fandom, as Baldur's Gate 3 has also been closing in on the title's highest rated PC game ever made within the days of just August 3rd release. So there you go. So here's the meta scores: Baldur's Gate 3, Disco Elysium, and then Half-Life 2. And Half-Life 2 is all the way back in 2004 with a 96. And then Disco Elysium is in 2021, and then this is in 2023. So this game is just, and let me make this clear, right? This game is not flawless in any way, shape, or form, right? There's bugs and glitches happening in Baldur's Gate 3. People do have issues, but the positivity and the pros of what this game is doing and showing what people can actually make in the video game space is why certain developers are scared and coming out and saying that this you shouldn't put. And we talked about that last week, but
well, look, you have to remember that once a game gets popular enough, all the people that would have ignored it to begin with then jump in to do their reviews because they know they can get clicks from it, right? That's why all of a sudden it gets even more reviews, because people realize now it's over and above what they thought it was going to be. So now they have to be part of it, right? Otherwise, those entities, those journalists would have already did the review. They did it after.
Right.
It wasn't a big deal until it's the #1 game. Well, now we have to have someone review it because now it's the #1 game. We have to be part of it. So yeah, it gets a bump. But at the same time, do you notice nobody's saying that the game's being shilled? Do you notice that the game's not saying that they're just pumping up the number? A bunch of guys are just pumping up the number. How come that conversation hasn't started?
Right.
How
come there's no review bombs or anything? Yeah.
No, it's not a review bomb. It's the positive version.
Positive, yeah. Review fluff, whatever.
What the shilling of it, like the shilling of the game. How come that's not a conversation? How come that's not the narrative this time? When surely the game is just being overblown because they want people to notice it, so they're just trying to shill for it, right? But that conversation's not happening. Instead, the conversation is, don't expect this from us. That's the narrative. Right? I find it very interesting that instead of doing what they've done now for the last 2.5 to 3 years about saying that the game's just shill, it's not that good, blah, blah, blah. Instead, they have to swallow the reality of it and then claim not to expect it from them.
Well, sticking with Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3 right now is 875,000 all-time peak concurrent on Steam, right? It's coming out on PlayStation in 3 weeks on September 6th, the same day as Starfield comes out on Xbox. I was watching some content creators out there. I won't name by names. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But now they're starting to get on the bandwagon. I talked about how I think Microsoft, and these are I don't want to call them shills for Microsoft, but they talk about Microsoft in a positive light and whatnot. But I said just a few weeks ago,
they talk about Microsoft in a positive light always.
Yeah. So I talked about it. Started about 2 weeks ago when they talked about how they're delaying this on the Xbox. Baldur's Gate 3 is not coming to Xbox because of the S, right? Because they can't do the whatever the system is, they can't get it working over on the S for Baldur's Gate, right? So
because of the split screen.
And I said they need to stop that, and they need to just put it on the X. You paid more for the X. If it works for the X, put it out for the X and let it happen, right? Because to me, this is so stupid. That this to me is a worse problem than split screen stuff not working for Forza Motorsports, okay? Where you're literally stopping what's potentially game of the year, it's in the contention of game of the year, okay? And you're literally sabotaging your own console and making unintentionally an exclusive for PlayStation 6 console in 2023, right? 2023 potential game of the year is not coming out for Xbox this year. It's coming out next year, and it can come out for Xbox Series X right now, the same as PlayStation 5 if they wanted to. But because Microsoft is like, no, because majority of the population that owns an Xbox, you're a little blurry there, Sarge, you might want to fix your camera. Right? Just put your hand in front of the camera real fast. Right? because the Xbox Series S, okay, it's still out of focus, is what it is. It's majority of the population of game,
in the room.
right? Because of the game, right? There's more consoles for the actual. Oh, Sarge went. There he is. There he is. There it goes. There's more people owning an S for Microsoft than people that own X's, right? I don't know why people that went out and spent more money on a console that was told to them that they would have better frame rates, more powerful stuff, that are being held back because of the lower S. 100% they need to break this right now and say, hey, we're rethinking this, and we're going to release Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time as the PlayStation 5 because it's idiotic and we're stupid if we don't, right? Because can you imagine? Let's fast forward 6 months from now. Okay, we're 2 months in. It's February or March inside of 2024. They finally say, hey, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, and we still haven't fixed the S for, I forget what is it. Is it split screen over there as well for Baldur's Gate 3?
It's split screen. It's the split screen issue.
So let's say they can't get it running on the S. They just can't get it running. They're like, screw it. We're just going to release it anyway. Now, not only did you fuck up not making it work for the S, but now you completely screwed up the actual popularity of the game when the bloodline is going right now. Right now is the hottest it's going to be ever. Okay, it's only going to go down from here once it launches, right? Because
plus the fact that other games are coming out,
right?
Other games are coming out, and you won't have time to play it, or you won't buy it because you know you don't have time to play it.
It's so stupid.
You want to cut out a percentage of your profits because you can't give it to the system that you knew couldn't handle it to begin with.
Right.
That sounds like a YP, not an MP. Right? That's their problem.
And what I find funny,
that's your problem.
The people that are shills, what the public calls them shills because they always positive thought in the light. Those people are finally waking up and going, yeah, they just need to release it for the X. Yes. You shouldn't punish people.
That's why I bought it.
Exactly.
For this exact moment, it's why I bought it. But you being the ignorant parent are saying, no, you can't get the toy until all the toys are the same. Like, all the toys are not going to be the same. You can't make it the same. Right? It's not going to be the same. Even if you manage to scrape it and shove the square peg into the round hole, it ain't going to run right. Right? I guarantee you, glitchy, jumpy, lagging off, or whatever's going to happen to it, like, you know what's going to happen. So why don't you just release the game for the system it was meant for? Right?
Just
why don't you just tell the truth like you were supposed to so many years ago and say that the S is the introduction to the new business model that we have, right? So you could do the old version or you could do the new version. But listen up. The new version isn't as powerful, can't do all the stuff that the old version can.
Right.
So you get to pick which version you want, right? You can't tell me this is worth less than this, but I want all the games to work on both. It doesn't work that way.
There's no difference if you have a 4090 graphics card and I have a 2080, right? Sure, your game's going to look good, but my game is going to look better because I have a higher tier graphics card and it runs the game better graphically. I can put it on ultra settings and it runs at 160 frames per second or whatever. And there's no issue there. But for some reason, Microsoft's like, no, we are not releasing it for the Xbox Series X and the S different times. We have to put it together. Like, why?
Because the hit they would take is still less than the hit they would take from the people with the S's because more people have the S's, right? So basically, the people that actually cared about Xbox, who like to buy the top end model because we liked Xbox, you basically just told them to go fuck themselves. Is basically what they just.
The reason I bought it for PC is because it wasn't coming out for the console that I owned, and I'm not waiting that much longer to play the game that everyone's hyped for now.
That's correct. but they cause their own problems. See, they want to have the cake and eat it too completely.
Right.
This is one of those moments. You know damn well that wasn't going to be ready by release date. You didn't, and even though you delayed it, you're still not going to be ready. Suck it up. Release it. Listen, if you can release it for PlayStation, then you can release it for Xbox. Plain and simple. That's like the baseline. That's the baseline. If you can release it for PlayStation, then you can definitely release it for Xbox. I'm sorry, what? Oh, what? The S? Oh, I'm very sorry that you bought an S. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you wanted a lesser quality system thinking that magic was going to happen.
Right.
And like the magical games that need to have the more memory to run, we're going to run on your potato. First of all, the potato players know, and they should have known, that they weren't going to get everything they were promised with the potato. It's a fucking potato.
Right.
Okay?
Right. All right. Going from that story, we're going to go to another big studio, which if you guys watched me in the past, I talked about this. I think Krebsy actually also brought this up a long time ago as well, right? Because we used to watch the role-playing servers of Grand Theft Auto. And I said, I think way back in like 2016, 2017, when it was like the peak of 5M, when it was role-playing galore on Twitch, right? I said the next Grand Theft Auto is going to have a built-in role-playing server. Like, they're going to have it built in, not third-party, okay? And today, well, 6 days ago, Roleplay Community Update, okay? The CXF.RE joins Rockstar Games. If you guys don't know who that is, they actually are the people who run 5M and RedM, which are the two online providers for role-playing on Red Dead Redemption 2 and on Grand Theft Auto 5. Okay, so they are now officially part of Rockstar Studios, right? They didn't take their technology. They literally bought the companies up, and they will be running. You have to be, not looking at this clearly if you don't think they're not going to have online servers in Rockstar within Grand Theft Auto 6 itself, right? This is all coming to fruition, Sarge. We predicted it years ago about Grand Theft Auto being a role playing. That's the thing. What they're going to do. We predicted that there's going to be a Grand Theft Auto world or universe that's going to happen where they're going to take Miami and combine it with Liberty City and combine it with San Andreas and right. That's going to be down the line. I'm still calling that, right. We've made these predictions. So we're one step closer, Sarge, into this entry here. So it says, today we are proud to announce that the CXF or CFX.RE and the team behind the biggest Rockstar role-playing creator communities, 5M and RedM, are now officially part of Rockstar Games. Over the past few years, we've watched with excitement as Rockstar creative communities have found new ways to expand the possibilities of Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and particularly through the creation of dedicated role-playing servers. As a way to further support these efforts, we recently expanded our policy on mods to officially include those made by the role-playing creative community. By partnering with the CFX.RE team, we help them to find new ways to support the incredible community and improve the service they provide with the developers and players. We look forward to sharing more information in the weeks and months ahead, which I take as another big thing, because why would you share more of weeks and months ahead? Because I think that not only are they're taking them with Grand Theft Auto 5, but I think in the next 4 months we're definitely going to get the first trailer of Grand Theft Auto 6. If it's by itself or if they do at the Video Game Award show, I think it'll be more on their own. But we're definitely going to get something, right? So we go from that.
When does Rockstar do it?
I said my
prediction.
My prediction was October or November is where they make the decision to put a tweet out,
to talk about it.
Just no
to do a tweet,
and that's it. A tweet. They'll say live, we're going to Miami. Just a tweet. They change their logo on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, and then it'll be followed by a trailer within a week or two afterwards. Right?
Like how impactful would it be to have a tweet with a symbol from GTA, not the actual GTA symbol, but just a symbol from GTA with a date next to it?
The impact.
How impactful would that be?
This is how big Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto 6 could be. Starfield's launching on the 6th, right? If Rockstar wanted to make Starfield disappear, like just
it would release on the 5th.
No. On the day it releases, on the 6th, okay? Everyone's like, Starfield's coming out. Did you guys just see? Rockstar just announced Grand Theft Auto 6. No one would talk about Starfield in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter, right? No matter what happens, everyone will be talking about the announcement of Rockstar Grand Theft Auto 6. They didn't show anything. They just tweeted out. That's all they would need to do, right? It would literally. It's like putting a cloaking device onto anybody else in the industry.
I'm just trying to figure out like what was the spacing for their games usually when they were gonna release something, like what was the spacing between them saying it was coming out and then it was coming out? Like
Well,
they
usually
they don't do it that far out.
Usually they make their announcements in October, November, and we're coming right around the corner. Okay, and then shortly, about a week or two after they make the announcement or something, they say they had that video with the woman's voice that says in Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, whatever it be, and they show you, cool clips, the music, the things that are happening there, and everyone's just blown away. They're like, "What the hell's going on here? This is amazing!" And then we dissect that trailer. That's coming in the next couple months, right?
So you think that the actual acknowledgement that the game exists and it's coming out is going to be this year?
Yeah, I think the tweet followed by a video within a week or two after the tweet is going to happen sometime in October, November, and then we won't see.
You gotta write this down.
We will not see the game until next year. This time, like late 2024, if they make the announcement this year, it will be a full 12 months before we see it.
I think they don't even want to interfere with Starfield and Spider-Man. I don't think we're gonna hear jack squat. I think maybe like Valentine's Day.
You think they're not going to say anything until Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I don't think Rockstar is going to say jack shit until probably next year sometime. You need to write this one down.
We don't need to write anything down, dude. I'll just let's do the Big Book of Bull. Here we go. Big Book of Bull.
Because I'm curious now. We keep getting closer and closer. So everyone's mindset basically is 2024.
So Sarge says that we're not going to see anything until Valentine's Day 2024 to get the announcement. Yeah. To get the announcement for Grand Theft Auto 6. I say October. You know what? Let me look at a calendar. I'm gonna go down. This is a prediction, right? This is a prediction. So I'm gonna break it down to even like the date. October 24th is the one in my head. October 24th, they will make a tweet or some sort of information will come out on October 24th. I say October, November, but I'll say a date. You said Valentine's Day. I'll give you a date. October 24th.
February. I'm saying February. Yeah, February.
Yeah.
I picked Valentine's Day because it's the middle of the month. See, my thing is especially with Rockstar is that the game has blown up so much that any type of wording at all means that they think it's coming out. Like anything that they say, a tweet, a picture, like you saw what happened. Right, someone showed a picture of water. They thought it was Grand Theft Auto. Like there was just somebody taking a picture of water,
and that's just leaks. Those are leaks.
They're just making shit up. So my thing with them, let's assume the game's on time, which we know it's not, but let's assume it's coming out in 2024, right? Let's just assume it, okay? So you know how big Grand Theft Auto is going to be. So do they do a summer release when it's quiet?
They do October, November.
Right, so a whole nother year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so we're still looking at a whole. So what you're telling me is this game's been in development for like 9 years.
Yeah, 8-9 years.
Right.
Yeah.
This game has been in development for 9 years.
They said they started. They said they started working on this in 2015. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If they talk anything this year, and the release date is the following year, that's madness. That's madness.
All right. Grand Theft Auto 3 released October 22nd, 2021. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 4 released April 29th, 2008, but I remember there was something happened that year, and that was the reason it got pushed over to the next year. Okay. Let's see what Grand Theft Auto 5 got released. September 17th of 2013. Okay, so September, October area. Let's look at Red Dead. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's look at San Andreas. GTA San Andreas release date was October 26th. Okay. What was another one? Vice City, right? Let's look at Vice City. Vice City release date was October 29th, right? So we have 4 games in October, right? 1 in September, 3 in October. So we have 4 games within that time frame. Let's look at Red Dead 1. Red Dead Redemption. Oh, hold on. Red Dead Redemption release date was May 18th. Red Dead Redemption 2 was October 26th, right? So that's another October game of Rockstar. So we have 5 games within September, October. Okay. Let's see. What was another game that came out from Rockstar? Bully.
So even if we're correct,
Bully October
another
17th. Bully October 17th is when it released. Okay. So I think that's the time frame. I think October of 2024 is maybe potentially, and again, there's no proof to this. We're just literally looking up release dates of other past games.
Well, the only reason why those other games released in May and April was because they were delayed from the previous year. That's the only reason why they were released then. And they were released in May and April because those are the dates that were the end of the fiscal quarter for the year. That's why.
So
that's why.
Rockstar, speaking of going into their police system right now, we know that the RP servers had really good police. Okay. And they were
like actual,
they were actual police. Yeah.
Yep.
So a GC6, hold on. I got to do grain of salt time. Grain of salt. Got to take it with a grain of salt. Take it.
Did you ever watch the YouTube guy? Was it on Twitch or YouTube? The actual the RP guy of that police officer. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was like famous.
Yeah, he's God, I forget his name now.
I forget the name of the officer. Something. I can't remember what his name was. But
Sheriff Eli.
Is Eli? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Sheriff Eli.
Yeah. So GTA 6 rumor claims that Rockstar Games is making major changes to the police.
If you guys never watched Sheriff Eli from the RP servers from Grand Theft Auto, you guys need to look him up.
That was the best.
You guys just need to look it up.
He's a good streamer still. He still streams.
Some of the guys. It was almost like watching an episode of Cops.
He was an actual cop.
I know.
Yeah,
I know he was a cop.
He was an actual cop. So a new rumor about GTA 6 is making rounds and claims that Rockstar Games is making some major changes to how the police function in the game compared to how they function in GTA 5. According to the rumor, police will take longer to arrive on the scene of GTA 6. In other words, they'll just won't just seamlessly spawn out of nowhere, okay, like they did. And how far the commitment to realism will be taken remains to be seen. But for the sake of the gameplay, it probably won't be truly immersive. Now, traditionally, go ahead, Sarge.
What kind of realism do you want? Do you want to get arraigned and get a lawyer? It was. Listen, if it was a 1-star or 2-star, they would come out. They wouldn't start shooting right away. They would chase you down and hit you with the stick and then arrest you. That's what they would do. After you got the 3 stars and beyond, you were a threat to society, and then they would start shooting at you. They're making it sound like the cops were always shoot to kill. That's not the way it was. Even in the most basic GTAs, they weren't shooting at you first. They were trying to box you in.
Oh no.
Pull you out of the car, knock you out, and arrest you.
GTA 5, they shoot first, ask questions later. So they said traditionally the GTA cops operate under the MO of shoot first, ask questions later. According to the rumor of GTA 6, likely depending on a crime, they'll give players time to surrender before shooting. Coupling it, this will no longer rush players, but look to surround you and trap players like they would in real life. Of course, if you have 5-star wanted level or throwing grenades out the windows, all bets are probably off, right? So what do you think about this, though, Sarge, as far as, do you want the cops to be more realistic, or do you want them... It's a video game, right?
It sounds like the developers started interviewing mayors from democratic cities. Is what it sounds like. Like, what does it matter?
What would you like to see in your cops?
The cops like, before I arrest you, let's have a talk first about you trying to steal this Bugatti. What are we talking about? He's stealing a car, but just arrest him.
Right.
What do you mean? We have to tone down the cops in the video game. We don't want people to get the wrong idea about stealing. Like, what?
I kind of like the realism of it, but I don't want sim-like.
What response time is like real life? It takes 5 minutes. I could be the next hideout by the time the cops respond to what I'm doing.
This is what I want, right? I want where if I'm doing a crime and there's a cop car driving by, all of a sudden he just doesn't automatically instantaneously turn on you. Like he drives down a little bit, all of a sudden you see him hit the brakes, turn his lights on, and then he sees you. You know what I mean? Like I don't want how they just spawn out the door.
How realistic do you want, bro? Look, we've had years of GTA police. They were fine.
I just want a better system where if the cops are after me, I don't want to run into the railroad and then just hide for 10 seconds until the 5 stars go down. Do you know what I mean? I want them to be just a little. I'm not asking for sim-like, but I would like them not to be instantaneously like on me like white on rice.
Listen, here's my issue with GTA 5. Unless you really played the game for a long period of time, like I mean an extensive period of time, it wasn't as easy to find the spots where you knew to lose the cops in order to pick up the star.
I would always go to the same spot. Yeah.
Right. To pick up the star in order to get the wanted level lower. Like it was more tedious. It was more like an actual car chase. Whereas in the older games, as you played the maps, you kind of explored, you went down alleyways and you'd find the stars, and then your mind would like be putting this jigsaw puzzle together, and you'd be like, okay, so if I come down this way and I cut down this alley, what's at the end of this alley? Oh, look, if I go left, there's a jump, and the jump jumps across the canal. Like, so you're like, okay, so the next time I get caught over here, this is the route I'm going to take. Like, those kind of things is what happened in a video game. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have fun with it. It's a video game. But in GTA 5, it was already realistic enough that you didn't happen to find the stars hanging around. You had to actually lose get out. What was the thing? Get out of the circle.
Yeah, the circle.
Right?
Yeah.
You had to get out of the circle.
Helicopters following you and what.
So
and
like
whatnot.
9 times out of 10, what did everyone do? I just went in the sewer. No shit.
Yeah.
Of course you went in the sewer because there's helicopters and all kinds of shit. So you went in the sewer. That's all I ever did, is go into the sewer.
Yeah, because every time you got out of the circle, there'd be a car coming from the opposite direction, and all of a sudden you're back into the
You're back in the
again.
circle.
Yeah.
Right.
So one more thing about Grand Theft Auto 6. It says, rumor, GTA 6 PC version is rumored to launch alongside the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S, making this the first Rockstar game titled to release on console and PC. Now, here's the thing I want to know. It does say Xbox Series X and S. Now, are we ever going to have conversations that there's going to be problems on the S?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, right?
Absolutely, totally plausible. It's going to have problems. Worse problems than you can believe.
If this is the case,
what do you think the graphical intensity is of a GTA 6 game?
Oh, it's
compared to what split screen can do.
I mean,
I gotta render 2 different games.
I think you're gonna look like Cyberpunk. You're gonna have problems running that game on a lower tier system.
Let's not even humor the thought that
GTA
6 is coming out on the S. Okay?
Well,
let's not even humor
right now.
thought.
It just says it's coming out on all platforms at the same time.
Right.
Usually they do the console first, and then they came out with the PC a little bit later. They say this time around it's going to launch on all platforms at the same time. So
it's a potato. Nothing else to discuss. It's a potato.
All right. Next thing, since we're talking about the S and missing features for certain games, let's just go to the next topic, which is Forza Motorsports will launch without 3 popular features. Okay, so
split screen being one of them.
Split screen is one of them. So when Forza Motorsports launched on October 10th, according to Turn 10 Studios, the game won't include split screen multiplayer, the ability to race against AI in various multiplayer modes, and a spectator mode. Now, creative director Chris said that the studio has a reason for this decision. And regarding the lack of split-screen multiplayer, the studio's heavy investment in the new graphic features in the game's rendering and engine. He says it unfortunately made split-screen really difficult to implement. And it's also not going to be in for launch, he said. But at least these guys are releasing it on the X and S at the same time, even though the missing features are happening, right? As far as no spectator mode or AI racers in multiplayer races, he said it went against the studio's goals for the game. Having players come into a featured multiplayer event and taking player slots and then spectating. It's not really the racing we had intended, he said, similar to racing with AI in featured multiplayer with all its potential impacts on the safety rating. Also didn't make it a whole lot of sense to have it going on available for launch. Now, to have conversations like this, Sarge, about saying that we didn't think it needed to be at launch. To me, there's no excuse for this. If the game is missing features that the game had, I'm looking at you, Halo. Okay, I'm looking at you, Battlefield. Okay, where scoreboards are missing and things that have been in the game for the entire lifespan of any other game they've ever made. Okay, to release a game with missing features shows me they don't really care about the quality of the game, even though the developers are saying, well, we care about the quality of the game, and we're not putting these in at launch, and we're still working on them, but we're still going to release this game for full price, and you're going to wait for features to come in at a later date. Now, people might look at this and say, well, it's not a big deal, because how many people really want split screen? And my question is, we're not the ones that asked for split screen. They decided to put in split screen, and then they couldn't get it in time, so now they should delay the game until these features are ready. Right, Halo? Forge mode was missing, split screen.
But you know that's not the reason. The reason is it's got to be on the S.
Right.
That's the reason.
Dolphin, to say that no one cares about these features is ridiculous. If nobody cared, why would they even put split screen in there in the first place? Because you don't play split screen doesn't mean nobody plays split screen. Obviously, a big chunk of people played split screen, hence why they said, hey, you know what? We're going to put split screen in a motorsports game. Thanks for becoming a member. They might have needed to take those things out to keep up the graphics. That's fine, but that's their choice to make. And right before it launched, they decided to keep it quiet until just like 6 weeks, 8 weeks before it launches. And they're like, well, these features are going to be missing, but we're still going to give it out there for full price. We're still putting it out there for full price.
All problems can be solved by ignoring the potato.
Dupla says Halo's supposedly getting better, but still meh. But still missing features, though. This is my problem. Like, I love Game Pass. Game Pass is a great value. But these first-party titles...
It's a license to steal, bro.
Right? The first-party titles that come out for this system, everything's missing a feature. Give me a game besides Hi-Fi Rush to come out that wasn't missing features. Okay? That was a first-party title. Right? All the major ones that have come out for them, besides Forza 5, that came out 3 years ago almost now. Okay? Since the launch of the actual system. Redfall, missing features, broken, buggy game. Right? Halo Infinite, missing features. Okay? What else? What other first-party title game came out that's missing features? Hogwarts Legacy ran great on the Series S. That's because, hold up now, they delayed that game 3 times before it launched. So don't
they had to glue the matchsticks together.
Don't think for 1 second, Abu, because they delayed Hogwarts 3 times before it finally launched in February, and then they delayed it to run on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and they delayed it again for the Switch. So they delayed it multiple times to make sure it ran for those things. They did that was not for the last gen. They did it for everything. It delayed. It was supposed to come out originally in 2021. Then it got pushed back to 2022. Then it got pushed back to 2023. They delayed it multiple times. Which is what I'm saying right now. Motorsports shouldn't have features missing at launch. It should launch with all the features. If the game's not ready, don't launch it. But it doesn't matter because it's on Game Pass, right? And they can put it out there and you're paying for the subscription model. You're not paying for the game. And that's the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
So they delayed it. Yes, that's my argument.
But you see that problem just feeds into their business model, right? If I release a game with less features, right? And I'm telling you it's got less features. Now my game is not as good as it was because we all know it's the potato. So then if you're smart enough to say it's because of the potato, then you say to yourself, well, why would I buy the game? Wouldn't I just play it on Game Pass so I'm not wasting the money on a game that's not complete? So you think that's a solution for yourself, but what that really is the solution for them because they want you in Game Pass. Right? So instead of paying full price for a full game, right? I half-assed the game on purpose. You realize it, say, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to pay for a game that's missing features. I'll just get Game Pass. I'll show them. And really, that's what they wanted you to do anyway, because they just want you in Game Pass. Right? That's the issue. The issue is that they're using Game Pass as the crutch in order to tell you why you need Game Pass.
Right.
Because we're not that good at our job.
Look,
I can't get the game to work on the potato, so you guys might as well just get it on the an S and get it at Game Pass.
and to have a conversation where you're bringing up Hogwarts Legacy is a third-party game, first off. Okay? I said first-party games from Microsoft, and they're missing features, and they put them on Game Pass. They're missing features. Features. Things that were supposed to be in the game at launch, right? Real quick, Robert Jones, thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate that. For the continued support. Right? And this is my issue, that Halo and I can't even think of all the games. Well, Sea of Thieves was missing features when it came out. What other first-party titles came out, guys? Okay. Xbox with their first-party title games comes out and they're missing features. And they release them and it's no big deal. We'll put it in later. It's not a big deal. And then there's people that buy the game like Redfall, buy the game like Halo, and they're like, well, I'm having fun. It's not about having fun. It's about paying for something that's supposed to have all the features at the day it comes out, not keeping it or releasing it and then get it 6 months, 8 months, 12 months later. It's about getting the stuff now, right? Did Flight Sim come out missing stuff? It did, yeah. It's a long clap. Well, I appreciate you. I'll do it again. Don't make me hit it again. So Forza Motorsports, that one, they said it was coming out in the first 12 months after last year's E3. It didn't make it to the 12 months. Then it got pushed out, and then it got pushed back. And I said this a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, whatever. I said I'm more concerned about Forza Motorsports than I was Starfield, because we weren't hearing anything about Starfield or Motorsports. We were hearing stuff about Starfield. Right? They're like, oh, wait a minute, this is supposed to happen in June, and then where's it going? I had a specific show going, well, if Starfield comes out in April or May, where's this one falling, right? Because there was one game per month that was coming out that time frame, and they didn't know where these two were falling. Now, obviously, we knew that Starfield was coming out in the second half of the year.
So I know I don't want to say anything bad, but do you think they're going to delay like another couple of weeks?
What, Starfield?
Yeah.
No, it's gold. It's out.
Yeah,
it's gold. It went gold 2 days ago or a day ago.
I don't know what that means.
Gold is the old
mean?
terminology of it's gold. It's printed. It's shipping out to stores. So like, can't stop it now. Like,
you mean they turned on their online store?
They turned on the online store, and then the digital codes went out. People are playing Starfield right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not getting delayed. That would be a fucking. Oh my God, that would be a PR nightmare, right? Like Wayfinder just did that. Wayfinder was like, "Hey, we're coming out the 15th," and they're like, on the 15th, they're like, "Hey guys, sorry, servers are broke. We can't do anything. We're coming out the 17th." It's like, if Starfield did that, there would be hell. People would be like, "Look at this, it's broke, it's shitty." You know, people would just lose their shit. So, the people that made Hitman, Sarge, Hitman developers, as Project 007 will have you playing as the first James Bond character. So Project 007 will apparently feature the first James Bond as the protagonist. James Bond is one of the most storied character in fiction, having existed in the film since the 60s, and will be well before the spy novels from writer Ian Fleming. Now, the character has survived numerous reboots and reincarnations, and also sustained an extreme level of success. The 25th film, No Time to Die, grossed $774.2 million, which is... It lost money, just to let you go. It made almost $1 billion, but it lost about $200 million, just to let you know.
Of course it did.
So box office conclude with Daniel Craig's version of Bond's story, but we've seen without the new Bond game for about a decade now, leaving many to long for a new 007 game after the glory days of GoldenEye and Nightfire. So Hitman developer IO Interactive has been working on the new game in the franchise, tentatively titled Project 007, for a couple of years now. And as of right now, we know very little about besides the fact that the original story that will not connect the films in use of the likeness of any of the movie actors. One other tidbit is recently learned that VI interview with Game Reactor that the game will feature the first Bond. Senior technical executive producer says Chris Vega gave a tease of what they expect from 007 and noted the game looks very cool. He says 007 is under development and looking very cool, and it's going to tell a story from the first Bond, and now it becomes a secret agent that he is. And but what will it and can commit on this now or comment on this? So here's the thing, Sarge. I have a question for you. Because, and I don't want to make this political in any way, shape, or form. I'm just throwing this out there, right?
Yeah.
Because they're specifically saying it's showing the first Bond, right?
Yep. Not very specific, is it?
Do you think that they're going to make it a girl?
Well, if it's the first Bond, the answer would be no.
Well, maybe it's Jane Bond.
No, you're reading the blurb that you're reading says everything about how it's based off the novels, it's based off the Cold War, it's based off the thing.
It's the first Bond. It's the first Bond.
It's the first Bond. It's a guy.
I hope so.
It can't be a girl. Right?
Okay.
If it's based, the first Bond had to do with the Cold War, all that kind of stuff. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I love James Bond. I never saw the last movie for obvious reasons, but I love James Bond. Now, I personally think this is one of those times where these guys pivoted into the wrong direction. If you were going to make a spy game,
right,
with a cool guy for going out on spy missions and assassinations, I would never have done James Bond in 2023. James Bond's over, right? I would have done John Wick.
Right? Well, I
would have taken Agent 88, and I would have changed him over to John Wick and do a whole spy game with John Wick and put the Batman combat system and make it gung fu with guns and hand-to-hand combat. That would be amazing. That would be a game. But the fact that you're going James Bond, I have to say, it's dated. Like, the whole idea of an action adventure spy game, it sounds cool, but it has to be story driven with crescendos of action. It's not just a run and gun type thing, right? Yeah, you're correct. It would have to be, Robert. It would have to be like a little bit like a Splinter Cell game, right?
I like
some
Splinter
car
Cell.
chase,
I really
some
like
car
Splinter Cell.
chase scenes, but like the game. Listen, a James Bond game. Think about it in your head. A James Bond game is very complex because you'd have to talk. There'd have to be some things to you using verbiage to get to where you want to be. And then if that doesn't work, then you have to have another option. Like, I got to sneak in later. I got to get a disguise for later. If my talking didn't work, or if my talking did work, then I can skip over the whole sneaking into the, like, there's so many avenues that you'd have to program and code for. It's not just like a Lara Croft game. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. So would you rather have the James Bond game be more like, I know you just said Lara Croft, but like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, or would you rather have it more like Mass Effect 2? Where it's more RPG, story driven.
A James Bond game
with action mixed in.
Would have to be a cinematic action game.
So like a God of War.
This is a tough one. Everyone thinks like it's just an action
game.
See,
I like Uncharted. Uncharted to me.
I'm telling you, you have to think about it in your head. How a James Bond, look at all the movies.
Yeah.
Right? Picture one of the movies that you know the entire plot all the way through. Picture it. Now put yourself as a character in the game. This is a video game. How would I get from point A to B? And what would it take to code that and make those events happen? Right? And if this didn't happen, then what? Would the game just end? If I didn't say the right words and the game would just end? No, you'd have to find another way to do the mission.
See, I would like, because it's the first Bond, obviously he's going to be young. He's going to be a fresh blood. I think it's a perfect opportunity, especially in a video game format, where you could use it to level up, to become the Bond. It's almost like Batman Year One. You know what I'm saying? It's like James Bond Year One. He's fresh out of the like new in the agency. Doesn't know much. He's not that seductive guy that can pick up people. And he's trying to get into his own.
So you want to do levels now? Now you want to level up?
Yeah, like I kind of do in a video game.
In the beginning, he's just brute force, and then he learns to be suave and more manipulative.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting that way.
You're just adding more complexity to what I already gave you.
I mean,
so I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is a James Bond game, in theory, is a very complicated game. It's not just it's an action game. Or it's an RPG. It has to be a melding of a few titles. It's very complex. Otherwise, listen. If it wasn't complex, They would have
I
already
don't want a
made one.
GoldenEye. You know what I mean? I don't want
But
just another multiplayer
GoldenEye
shooter type shit.
GoldenEye was just a multiplayer shooter
Yeah.
with the IP of James Bond on it. That's all it was.
I want the
Right?
story. I want the espionage and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I want him to like be suave and like go behind enemy lines and like do
Like
missions,
what they
sort of like
do, like what
Hitman,
they
sort
do.
of like
Yes.
Hitman.
Yeah, but it would be Hitman
More
on
action. Yeah.
on acid. Yeah,
Yes.
it'd be crazy Hitman because like and it could be like just the movie, right? You do a good job, you get better reputation, you get better gadgets, right? Or like if you do well,
It's basically
if you
Batman.
it is. If you do well, you could pick 4 gadgets.
That's
But if
it.
you don't do that, if you don't do that well, you're only allowed to pick 2 gadgets.
That, you
Right?
know,
Like that kind of thing where like now you have to figure out how to get past with just these things.
uh,
Right? It's a puzzle game, it's an action game,
yeah.
it's fucking everything.
It's Arkham.
Dude.
That's
It's
what
not,
it is.
It's not yeah,
It's Arkham.
Arkham, Splinter Cell, and a couple other things. It's what it is. That's what a James Bond game would be.
That's what Arkham is. Arkham is he's a detective, right? So he does hand-to-hand combat. He has tech stuff that he does, right?
Listen, I'm not going to argue with it. If the game was done correctly, it would be a wonderful game. But it's a very complex game.
Yeah,
right?
I hope it's a good game. I would like, just as a sort of a tip of the hat, right? My favorite James Bond is Sean Connery. I know they said they're not going to use any of the actors and stuff, but it would sure be nice if they put Sean Connery's voice or face. Obviously, I know with technology they have to ask because he just passed and whatnot. But man, that would be so good if they put him in there in some way, shape, or form. You know, I don't know if even if it's a picture in the agency where it shows the double agents up there and you see their faces. I don't know. It'd be cool. It'd be cool.
I think if it was done correctly, the actual game would have a montage and pay tribute to the entire character of James Bond and Ian Fleming.
Yeah.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
That's what it should do. But, that's asking for a lot. But if you were going to do the James Bond game correctly, that's what you would do. Like, if you think about the IP for Hitman, right? It's done very well. But if you now up the ante, put in a more in-depth system for an action storytelling game and use the Hitman elements, it's fantastic. Think about what that would be. It would definitely be something on the top 10 list of games if it was done correctly.
Yeah, if it's done correctly, I think it could do really well.
Yeah.
Now
could.
here's a question. Do you think it's exclusive for one console or the other, or do you think it comes out for all consoles?
Well, it's not for the fucking potato, I could tell you that.
Well, when I meant consoles, I meant PlayStation or Xbox.
Not going to be on the potato. I don't know, man. Like I own all the James Bond movies. I think about all the adventures and things you could do in that game. That would definitely be a live service. The
You think
James
so?
Bond game would definitely be a live service. Absolutely.
Oh, I don't want
You'd
that.
you would have no other choice. What, you're going to buy DLCs for the
No,
new adventure of what he does?
No, I would just
Come on,
buy the game one and done, play the game, beat the game.
What do you mean one and done? How do you level up your guy to the next level? How do you get back with the Russian girl you met? How do you do this thing in South America? Like, there'd be all these empty storylines that you have to fill in. Of course it would be live service. Like, it would either have to be live service or there have to be missions that you buy to continue the game. Hitman does it. Hitman does
well,
it.
they could put missions in. I can see that.
Hitman does missions.
I don't know about live service though. Just give me.
Bro,
I'll buy
telling
your.
you.
Look, if your game's awesome, make DLC, make story missions and stuff like that, and people would.
I don't agree with live service. I don't agree with live service. But what I'm saying is, a proper James Bond game, what that game would be, you would need to have ways of putting more things into it, right? Look, anybody who likes James Bond is going through all the movies in their head right now. You think you're going to pick one of those and just say, "That's it, we're done. We're going to move on to the next game"?
I do, right? It would be like a Jedi Survivor. It'd be like a Jedi Fallen Order. You make the James Bond game. If it does well, then you make James Bond 2 and it continues on to the next character. That's why I said Mass Effect. That's why I said Mass Effect, where if it's story driven and it does like a trilogy down the line. Obviously, we don't even know anything about this game, right? It's like Batman Arkham type of gameplay where there's tech, there's fighting, hand to hand, gun shooting and whatnot. Batman doesn't use guns, but you know what I'm saying, right? And then if the game is good then you make the second game, and whatever you make your choices in the second game. So you're talking about like Russian girl, whatever, how you get back with her. You make those choices, and then when the second game comes out, you can continue your story. I don't know. I feel like that's the way to go with a game like that. Just because you can't have split screen doesn't mean the series is a potato. I doubt anyone is using split screen in 2023. Here we go again. A person that comes in, Predator. We, the gamers, didn't say, hey, Forza, make sure you put that split screen in, right? No, they did. They said, let's put split screen in this thing through the development, and then they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. It's not about that nobody's using split screen. Obviously, people are using split screen, hence why they wanted to put it in the game in the first place. For God's sakes.
It's a potato. Let's let it go, man. It's a potato.
All right, next story. At 36,
if you want a solution to the problem, and you're really that mad at Xbox, and I can see how you would be, just sell the potato, sell your Xbox, and just get a PlayStation and be done with it. Right? Just avoid the potato. Just avoid it. The potato is the anchor on the side of the Xbox Series X. It's just hanging there. And every time something has to happen, they have to discuss it with the potato. Hey, buddy, we got this new game idea. We were thinking about putting multiplayer. Everyone flies on dragons. They've got laser guns. And he goes, oh, I don't know, man. Laser guns, that's a lot of processing power. What are you talking about? Laser guns have been in games for 10 years. I know, but Dad didn't give me the right tools for the job, and I'm just trying to get kids to play Mom's credit card and buy some more microtransactions for Minecraft. That's what the fucking game. It's a fucking potato.
Look,
okay, it's a potato.
I have an S. I have an X. I can justify going, hey, if it doesn't work for the S, then don't put it on the S. We didn't make the rule. They decided to make the game, right? Multiple games now were withheld or pushed back because of split screen. If 1 + 1 = 2, and split screen didn't work for Halo, and split screen's not working for Forza Motorsports, and split screen's not working for Baldur's Gate 3, I
see a pattern.
What's the common denominator? What's the common denominator? Amazing. At $36, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 might be the cheapest new premium from Activision, it's claimed. Okay, Activision's next Call of Duty game is going to release later this year. While the hype is strong, the title is also attracted some controversy in terms of overall development expected. We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, Sarge. A lot of people believe that Modern Warfare 3 is just DLC, and that will still cost $70 even though it's not a full game. Now, ladder standards amount that are usually pays while buying a newly launched title. However, in recent leaks suggest that the price might even be much lower. So, following an official logo, a logo reveal for this year's Call of Duty, Activision learned into making the marketing campaign successful. The game has been trending on social media these days, and it also looks like its hype will once again go through the roof. That being said, there's one more reason why Modern Warfare 3 is in the news lately, because of the mysterious leak that popped up on the internet. Recently, a YouTuber, COD expert, The Gaming Revolution, revealed that the video that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 could arrive with a price tag of $36, which means players won't have to pay for a regular amount of $70 for the standard edition. This speculation is based on the leaked screenshots rumored to be from the Australian Steam store for upcoming game. So, going by, the YouTuber has revealed it seems that Modern Warfare 3 would cost $54.95 Australian dollars, now equivalent to nearly $36 in the United States. But does that imply that this year's premium release will be cheapest new Call of Duty ever? We had a conversation there last week, Sarge, and I had a conversation with Lono last week on his podcast, right? I said if it's $70, this is bad look, because you even brought it up when we were talking about it when I was in the standalone show. You were like, is it going to be full price and I'm missing out on stuff? I'm paying $70, but because I played the last Modern Warfare, I got all my guns leveled up, I got all the skins, I have all the stuff, so I'm paying full $70 for less of a game.
A roster update,
right?
Basically.
So if this is true, then that would make sense, right? So now, if this does happen and it does cost $35, $36, $40, is this justified? Right? It's $30 cheaper than the game price now of $70. So is this a smart move to make it, and it's just a DLC roster update, or what do you think, Sarge?
Well, I think that $36 means microtransactions galore.
Well, they already have microtransactions galore.
Right. So there, all that is basically saying to you, like, we know we're stealing it from you. So in order to steal from you better, we're going to give you the game at a discounted rate to make you feel better. I don't play Modern Warfare
Oh,
anymore.
Krebsy just
I
put an
just
article. He says it
oh,
confirmed it's $70. Modern Warfare 3 price cleared up by Activision. That was fast.
Bobby was like, no, are you insane? I need one more gold yacht. Are you insane? $70 game.
All right, so a recent rumor suggested Call of Duty cost $54.95 or $36. Rumor and leaks, Activision has confirmed that Modern Warfare 3 is a full premium release and will be priced at $70. There is no upgrade price, and it's not an expansion. So there you go.
Fantastic. Bobby wins again. Bobby wins again.
This to me is this is almost as bad as what NBA 2K is doing, what we're going to talk about next. Okay, taking a game that someone played Modern Warfare 2 with, and if you're a fan of the game, you are now paying full price for less of a game, right? Because if you've never played Modern Warfare 2,
inflation, bro, you're being so unreasonable.
If you never played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and this is your first entry in, you pay $70, and let's say you have 50 guns. But if you played Modern Warfare 2 and you paid $70 or $80 or $100 for the whatever edition, and you played the shit out of it, now Modern Warfare 3 comes out, you pay additional $70, but you already have 40 of the 50 guns that are in the game because 40 of them were from Modern Warfare 2, right? So now you have less leveling up. So you get less of a game to think. I think that's ridiculous. I do. I think that's ridiculous. Basically, it's a roster update.
Anything that happens with that title now, honest to God, anything else that happens with that title, it's 100%. It's 100% on the consumer, right? If you want a better Call of Duty game, like an actual good game, not just a cookie cutter of something else with more zombies in it and some more call outs or stupid overpowered abilities, the answer is don't buy it. Right? If you want a change in the industry, if you want a change in the game that you hate, stop buying it. Stop
you won't have to buy it in the future, Sarge. Microsoft owns it. It's on Game Pass.
I get it. But I would rather no one buy it and it have to go to Game Pass, and then you have to make the conscious decision to go get it, as opposed to giving them 70 on top of the microtransactions.
This is the last game in the contract with PlayStation where they have to do the marketing and stuff like that, right? So Modern Warfare 3 is the last one. After this, it's part of that new 10-year deal that everyone's signing. So
this 10-year deal. I love how people here's what I laugh about it, right? The game has had a really good run, right? Not all games last forever. And what we've noticed in the last 5 years is that these major publishers have no remorse into destroying a solid franchise IP and just throw it into the toilet. Right? They have no qualms about it, right? If it doesn't fit their agenda, it's fucking gone, right? Signing a 10-year deal for a game that's been out for 20 years, thinking that this game is going to be around forever before some other type of game that will take its place at some point, because inevitably it will, right? So you believe, as a gamer who's been around, you think Call of Duty is going to last another 10 years? Like, you think that?
No.
I don't think that. I'm waiting for the next game to take over what Call of Duty has done and do it better. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. So the 10-year deal contract sounds great on paper, but what if they decide we don't like this game anymore? Right? Yes, we would have gave you a 10-year deal if the game still existed, but market research shows that this game is no longer valid.
It's on decline.
So we can't. It's on decline. So I can't make another one. It didn't
make the 50 million every year. It's only making 30 million.
But this is what I'm saying. Yeah. So like the whole 10-year contract, I laugh. I laugh every time I hear it. I'm like, I can't believe you guys think that that's a remedy for what the issue is. These guys don't care about the IP. They care about the engagement and the money they can make from it. If they can make more money on a game like Call of Duty instead of Call of Duty, the first words out of their mouth is, what's Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. It'll just be gone. So I find it amusing that re-releasing a game that we've already played,
Well,
putting a
it's new.
roster update in there.
It's new.
Come on, bro.
I know,
Come on,
but
bro.
it's new. It's a
Okay.
new story.
Okay.
Even though 95% of the people don't play the story, they just go play multiplayer.
They go play multiplayer.
And
Yeah.
they're not even playing multiplayer now. They just play Warzone,
Well,
which is
and
the
that's
free to
also
play.
on
Which is the
mobile.
free to play.
And that's on mobile.
Well, no, it's completely
Right.
different on mobile. Yeah, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Right, Krebsy. Right.
the next story I want to talk about, this made me laugh a little bit. All right, so the NBA 2K24, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 introduces paid battle passes in franchise first. Now, Angry Joe made a video of this, like a rant, live rant. He was yelling.
Whose photo is that?
That's Angry Joe's. Angry Joe made that on his stream.
Wait, Angry. That's his actual thumbnail. That's the actual thing.
That's his thumbnail. Yeah, right. So in a franchise, okay, and to our knowledge, sports game, first NBA 2K24 will introduce a paid battle pass, which builds up the existing season feature. For the first time, progression will unify across my career and my team, so you won't have to earn rewards individually and all the existing unlockable items. A total of 40 across both modes will continue to be available for free. Now, the big change, however, is the option to pay for $10 per season for a pro tier, which will grant you an additional 40 premium rewards, as well as 2 bonus my career and my team items at the point of purchase. There's also a Hall of Fame option, including the additional immediate rewards at 15% XP booster and 10 level skips. Now, obviously, this is more or less the line with what other games are doing, but the additional monetization may grant among those already feeling the basketball sims over-resilience of microtransaction is far distracting. We suppose that all depends on the premium rewards, including the 2K Sports would argue is merely a value added with the existing free battle pass. So not only, Sarge, are they, this is what they're putting, right? This is the actual. So season pass.
I love the photo.
You got the free level up rewards, which each level achieves 1 through 40, is my team and my career, and they now unlock and reward both modes at the same time. You pay $10 or you pay $20 for the Hall of Fame. That's for the level up rewards. Then there's the season pass rewards, okay, which free doesn't get, okay, and then you pay more, $10 for the season pass rewards, and you pay an additional for that, and then there's the pass perks, which is 15% extra boost XP for that, right? And on top of this, Sarge, Angry Joe was talking about how they charge for haircuts, they charge for outfits, they charge for shoes, they charge for basically everything in this game. I can't, like, people that play Call of Duty year after year and pay $70 for basically just what it is. This is 10 times worse. People that play these sports games, the Maddens, the NBA, the FIFAs, this is the same thing year after year. And now, because they know sports fans, bet on sports, they like to buy stuff, they're addicted. It's a very addictive thing. People love sports. I used to be a huge sports fan, right? I'm still a huge sports fan. I just don't really watch anymore as much as I want to, right? But I used to play, me, growing up. I had a baseball game came out, a basketball game came out, a football game. I owned them all. Okay, I loved it back in the day. Every bases loaded, every Ken Griffey Jr., every whatever. Name a baseball game, I owned it. Name a basketball game, I owned it. Name a football game, I owned it. Now these basketball games and these soccer games and these football games are just disgusting microtransactions that just nickeling and diming you on every aspect of the entire thing. Right? It's so bad. What do you think of this season pass? If Madden, Angry Joe said this, and I'm going to say the same thing. He says if Madden gets a whiff of this, it's over. He's like, they're going to charge season pass. It's going to go inside there. It's over.
Yeah. Well, look, I understand you might like sports games. I get it. Like, there's certain games I like. I want to play them. I get it. But if you originally bought a game for $60, you really enjoyed the game. It was a fun game. You played with your friends online. It was worth every penny. Now you have a game that is $60, and on top of it, $70, and then on top of it has you paying weekly, monthly, daily for all kinds of stuff.
Haircuts,
shoes. And you believe that is worth your money. that you believe that that is worth the same amount of money as it was when you had fun, bought a game for $60 and played with your friends. Right? You think this is valid. If that's the case, if you really believe that this game is as fun, spending 100 times more money than you did before, then you are possibly the greatest sheep consumer ever created. And they're going to love you to death. I don't know what to say. Like, I would never, ever give people money for haircut and shoes in a fucking video game. This is catered to whales. It's catered to people who have money to burn, who don't care. It's not about making a video game, bro. It's about harvesting money from people who want to
Let,
get stuff.
let me show you.
That's it.
Let me show you
That's it.
what it costs, Sarge. If I get the pre-order, the 25th anniversary edition is $150. $150, so you can then spend $10 or $20 a season on top of everything else that you're doing inside the game.
We all know it's money left on the table, bro. That's what all this stemmed from. This all stemmed from how do we get more money out of sports games, and they figured it out. And this is what it is.
No, Dupless, they just have the what do you call that? The all, not the all Madden. All Madden is for Madden. I forget what it is for FIFA.
It's almost like
Ultimate
it's
Team.
almost
It's
like
the Ultimate Team stuff.
in the old days, like when you accidentally signed up for some kind of magazine subscription or the CD club, and those things that just keep siphoning money out of your account every month that you don't notice until like 8 months later. Then you notice it, are all mad and try to do a chargeback. And you weren't allowed to do chargebacks back then. It didn't work the same way as it does today. And so you had to fight to get back like $250 or $300 because they were just siphoning it out of your account. The difference now is that you're willingly enabling them to do that to you, and you say thank you.
Right. So let me look here. It says the first week sales, different editions of franchises as follows. So this is Madden Football, just to give you a. So Madden 16 made 1.57 million sales the first week. Then 15 made 1.4, 13 made 1.3, 25 made 1.31, and Madden 17 made 1 million. So they're not really going up very much. It says Madden revenue. Again, we're talking about 2K, but I'm just trying to give you a gist of sports, how many people buy sports games. The published Madden NFL year generated 7.4 million of the net revenue of the year 2023 it is higher than the previous year record of 6.9 million in 2022 and 5.6 million in 2021. So people are either buying more Madden now or they're spending more money with whatever, right? The problem with these games, Sarge, and on top of that, Angry Joe goes, that's it. He goes, I clarify that all sports games are now free, right? If they're just free to play games and then you want to put microtransactions in the games, he says, then do it. He goes, but stop charging $70, $90, $150 every year for these games.
But they pay it.
Yeah, they do.
But they pay it.
They do.
The problem,
2 million people
at this point in time, the only problem with this type of predatory is the consumer, not the developer anymore. Because
I don't think those consumers care. I really don't think they care.
But if you have more money than time, you don't care, and that's what the game is designed for. It's designed for people who have money but not the time. They just want what they want for entertainment purposes. That's the money left on the table. That's all the analytics that have gone on for the last 5 years. How do we get more money? They found out there are people out there who are willing to spend money on stuff that they would know that nobody would normally spend money on, and that's how they harvested it. They design a game like this to get that money. I mean, if you want it to stop, you just have to stop playing. Like, if the 2 million people are playing it and they let them play it with each other, like let the whales play with each other. Let the whales play with each other. The rest of you just don't. Let them play. Let them play it. Right? It's the only way it changes. See, the flag in the ground, when you plant the flag in the ground and you say this is the spot, no more. You have to actually be willing to actually do it. You think that, well, it's not going to change, so why should I do anything about it? Well,
that's exactly
it's never going to change if no one tries to do anything. And the only way to combat this is not to engage with it at all. Like, you don't download it, you don't try it, you don't play with it with your friends. Like, you don't care. You just play a different game. right? We all know we have limited time anyway, so
Right.
make your limited time on a different game.
Yeah.
But let them go do something else,
Yeah, the
right?
problem though is when one of these sports franchises does this, they're all going to do this. Just like they all started putting season passes and battle
Right.
passes. Now the
80,
Pandora's
20,
box opened.
80, 20. It only takes 20% of the people who buy that game in order to fund them because they have more money than time. Right? This is what it is. See, this is why I keep harping on this, and I'm hoping somebody out there gets mad enough or has been dicked around with and has access to lawyer friends who analyze what the industry is doing and find some type of consumer loophole that is predatory against children or whatever, and some type of thing to combat this legally, right? Because in my mind, you are not selling a video game any longer, right? A video game is an entertainment purpose.
Right.
What you are making is a piece of entertainment that allows underage kids to purchase digital products unwillingly or subliminally or peer pressure or whatever you want to call it, but like you're putting these people in a position where they have to buy it. I have to get the better player, otherwise I can't beat my friend. I have to buy
Right.
this thing, otherwise I can't beat my friend. Right? That's no longer a video game. It's almost like sport book betting, but for kids.
Yeah, it's fantasy football basically.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be somebody out there to find the loophole and just sue one of these companies into oblivion so something changes. Otherwise, this is where it's going.
Yeah, it's gonna get
And
worse.
I don't mean this is where it's going like today. This is where that all goes.
Yeah.
It all goes here.
Yeah.
Every game.
All right, we're 2 weeks away from the pre-order early access of Starfield. Right, they came out with the Q&A yesterday, I believe. I have a video that just goes over the questions. And it's just a video to hear them. If you're here now, I did one earlier today. It's the same questions. It was just more in depth. I want to get Sarge's take on this because he's gonna jump into Starfield. Why, chat? Why is Sarge going to be jumping into Starfield? You can put it in chat if you know the answer. We have an emote for it, so don't look too hard for it. So, Sarge, did you see the Q&A at all? Did you watch the video I posted about what the Q&A for Starfield?
I didn't go through it all.
Okay,
I know some of the questions.
All right, so obviously one of the questions is, could you buy a house in the properties in the main cities? They say, yeah, you sure can. To purchase a dwelling in all major cities in the game, and there's at least one that you specifically get. Obviously, the one that you get is like the tutorial, right? Like, here, this is what you get, type of thing. You have parents in the thing, so they do have a generic thing where your parents actually will be in the game, and they're going to be based on how you make your character. They're going to make your parents based off of you. So it's sort of like
reverse character creation.
Yeah. One of the things I want to talk about is the smuggling in this game, Sarge, because I think you're along the same lines as me, where you want kind of like realism and whatnot. So smuggling in this game, it says, how will the smuggle cargo system work? Can we hide it somewhere in the ship and sell it for more currency later? One of the devs says certain items are considered contraband, and you'll need to smuggle them past security ships that are in orbit major settlements. And the other person says there are specific items that are considered contraband, meaning that they're pretty much illegal everywhere. And yes, you can hide them using special ship modules that you can purchase. So if you don't get caught, with those harvest organs. The economy is fixed, but prices of bought and sold goods can change based on the skill you choose. So something like this. What do you in the headspace of the fantasy?
It sounds very complicated. It sounds very complicated.
Yeah. So you think it's going to work as intended?
I'm more concerned about the basics of gameplay in this game. Let that work first. The mechanics for these other systems are some things that could probably be worked on later that no one will really notice until later. I know that there'll be some stories about things such as that question that come out early, but people don't really understand the game well enough. You know what I mean? Like there's a segment of the population who's like into it, like understanding the values of what things are. In the first week,
Right.
you're going to figure out how much money you can make from doing whatever. They're going to find a way to break the bank because they want to get the best ships. And then the other people are just like, I'm just here to play the game, right? It's like the same people that play like a Division 2 game and know all the DPS for all the weapons and what best mods to put on there. and other people just play it like we do. I don't know the best TPS. I don't look up videos, but I'm just having fun with it.
Right, people figure it
Same
out.
principle.
Yeah.
Same
So
principles. So I think that the mechanics of the game that you're speaking of are really interesting. That'd be cool to figure out, but I'm not sure if they work the way that you think they're going to work.
yeah,
Like it sounds good.
my problem is it's sort of like what Fable went through, where Fable's like you could do this, this, and this, and when you get into the game, you couldn't push. You know what I mean? Like the real estate and
Right.
stuff that was in the game.
Not really.
Yeah. So the next thing is about time passing, right? And I'm kind of like mixed about this, and let me know how you feel. It says, will time pass when you're not in the game? For example, will my trade routes, outposts, and mining operations continue to produce, or does it only occur while actively playing? He says, the sim only runs
Good
when
question.
you're actively playing, no sleeping
Good
on the
question.
job, right?
Good question.
So me
So
personally,
we already know the answer to this one.
yeah, me
I know the answer to this
personally,
one.
yeah, me personally,
know.
I like the way that No Man's Sky does it, where if you have a farm, you have automatic machines that like farm it, and if I log out, it takes 15 minutes to like load that machine or 30 minutes to load that machine. So when you come back on an hour from now, you know you're going to have a certain amount of resources. Now with this, it doesn't pass. So obviously, I already said today what they're going to do. I want to hear what you think they're going to do in place of this.
Well, I did it back when I played Ultima Online. When I wanted to make a tailor to max level, I bought all the materials, and then I set up a macro on my PC, and I left
Yeah.
my PC on all night. I left it on all night. It's just on working.
Right.
My macros were going off, and my guy was making armor all night long. And so by the time I woke up the next day, he was max level, and I had to. So if you have to be online for your materials to be mining, then all that means is you leave your Xbox on and go to sleep. You'll be a millionaire by the end of the weekend.
Right. So
Right? Depending on what the value is. So listen, if they didn't think about that, I'm already concerned about Bethesda.
this is
Like
this.
it's the oldest trick in the book is to leave your Xbox on and let the stuff mine. But if they do know that, the only way that they can limit that is that you have a finite amount that you can hold.
Right.
Like your storage, like if you're let's just say you're mining iron. If your thing's mining iron,
Right.
you can only hold 100.
Right.
Right. And then you have to go back and empty it. Right. And they don't sell the solution. They don't go, you can have a maximum of 1,000, but you have to buy it from us for $9.95. Like, but it doesn't exist. So you can't leave your Xbox on.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That's my problem. Like why not just let it, like, again, I don't know how the game works yet, but
Right. We don't know.
if in No Man's Sky, if I have an automated system later down the game, because I'm high level and I bought the thing or created the thing, and now it's farming for me, so I don't have to farm anymore.
Right.
Now when I come back, it's filled. In this, if it doesn't do that, then it's almost like, okay, I need these resources, but I need to now go farm them myself, right? So now I'm instead of me adventuring in the world, I'm doing an hour worth of farming for whatever it is instead of automatic farming, because it only does automatic farming. Even if I have a machine, I have to be online. So now I'm just going to leave my computer on, or I'm going to leave my Xbox on, or wrap a rubber band around the controller and make my guy move in a circle so he doesn't get kicked out for not being active. You know what I mean?
Right. So you already see it. Like in their mind, if they're looking at it the same way, in their mind, if I'm online but I'm not mining, but I'm on for 2 hours, if in the early stages of the game I was mining for 2 hours but not doing anything else, but now I'm doing other things for 2 hours, but yet I'm still mining for those 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't gain more. I get to do other stuff while I'm mining. Right, which is why people leave their Xbox on all night.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
I don't know. I thought it was a good question. It was actually one of the better questions in the.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah,
that is a good question.
So another question is joining multiple factions, right? They said, can you be a double agent in this game? For example, if you join the United Colonist, can you also join the Crimson Fleet and give the United Colonists information, and what faction have the feature if they do? One of them says. That's exactly what you can do. Infiltrate the Crimson Fleet or the UA SIFDEF, right? It's specifically to that quest line. In the studio, I have been half jokingly referencing movies that some folks have never seen before because I'm old. But he says, so with the particular plot line, the inspiration of one of them became from Donnie Brasco, which is a true story about an FBI agent who infiltrates the mafia. How will it go? Right? So he's saying that you can infiltrate, but I think what the question's asking is it just a storyline, like one storyline, or is it, can I join any faction and fuck them over, the other faction, in the game. So I don't know if they really answer the question. They say all the playable factions can be completed independently, and the Crimson Fleet storyline does feature you being an undercover agent. So it's one specific story. So you can't you can do it for the Crimson Fleet, but you can't do it for like the United Colonists, or you can't do it for the other one. So it's a one specific thing. Obviously, my headcanon.
But don't you remember that Todd Howard says we don't really like to say no? When you ask some
Right.
of these questions in the game, like they said that they sat and they thought about all the things that you could do in this game, and a lot of the times we didn't want to say.
Right. So they
Right?
made
So if you don't say no to that, then that means you have to allow yourself to be in multiple groups. But how does the coding and the program
there's so
and
much
what they
stuff that could go wrong.
this is what I'm saying. Like it takes a lot of all dialogue trees and things for you to like. What happens if you get caught? Do they just ignore you? Or if you're wearing the wrong uniform and you go to the wrong planet, do they out you? Like, do you understand? Like everyone thinks like it's just normal. Like it'll just do this, it'll be fine. Like no, the details involved in doing that kind of thing are complex. Do you think that they programmed and accounted for all that?
Right.
I'm gonna say maybe.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot.
and if they did, it's not for every faction, maybe just the real main ones.
I think we might have a situation, and I'll be blown away if it does work correctly. But this game is so ambitious that
Very,
if
very.
if it works flawlessly, it'd be amazing, right? So
Let's not use the word flawlessly with Bethesda.
two more questions I want to ask. So one is the number of companions. It says how many companions are total and able to recruit. One of them says there are 20 named characters who can join your crew.
20.
4 of them are from Constellation, and have most story and interaction with the player. But all our named characters have their own backgrounds and can also follow you around and carry your stuff. So they're all pack mules. Okay. The other developer says over 20 total, and we really focused on the members of the Constellation. When you first begin Starfield pre-production, we looked back at the previous games and realized how popular and effective the companions were. So much so, this is why we always said we wanted a co-op game, right? We wanted a companion to go on, and then they gave us Fallout 76, and it was not what we asked for, type of thing. So there are big priorities for us, and we really wanted to tie them directly to the main quest, and there's also some really big moments with them specifically. So he says, I should also mention that the companion's voice casting is amazing, and we have released the list yet of the people. He says same for the constellations in general. In addition to the companions, you can also hire generic crew members to work at your outpost and your ship, right? So it goes into the next one, which is crew salary. Okay, when assigning crew members to work on outposts, do we have to pay them a salary? And one says you don't. You just pay them once. You actually experimented with paying them an actual regular salary, but because the time passing. So this is exactly why I'm adding these, right? Because if the time passing was when I was online or when I'm playing the game, time still went past even though when I'm on.
Yeah.
Then you could pay a salary because your thing would be making money for you while you're gone. But because you're live and the time only moves when you're live, you would actually have to be working to make the money so you could pay your crew member enough money. That's why they got rid of the salary.
Not true.
That's why they got rid of the salary.
That's mental. That doesn't make any sense.
Now they're just paying him once.
I just pay a guy once. He works for me forever.
That's it. Now you're just paying him once.
He's an illegal alien. Is that what we're doing?
This is why I'm saying because my theory is because the time is stopped when you log out. They couldn't make the salary thing. They had to make the one-time payment thing.
That's incorrect.
Because every time you log on, you would have to be working to make enough money to pay your salary of your employees.
Do you not know how businesses work?
I do.
Right. Okay. So we'll go back to the same example. Let's say I have a couple iron mines. Right. They mine 100 a day.
Yeah, but
I get paid.
Yeah.
I mine 100. They mine 100 a day. That iron's worth X. X amount that I sell.
Sure.
Right. So when I sell that, it deducts the value of him working for that day off the top.
Yeah, it's called
when
a
I
job.
When I sell the fucking units. Otherwise, he's in charge. They won't mine unless he's watching them. Otherwise, I have to watch them. That's how this works.
Yeah, but
so I pay him once. That solves the problem. That's a cop out for a realistic game that you didn't want to put a salary in for. All you would have to do is pay him when you sell the shit.
But this is why I'm telling you. I think they got rid of the actual thing.
That's a joke
because of the time thing.
That's not an answer. It wouldn't matter. if I'm on for 2 hours, he gets paid worth 2 hours worth of his salary.
He says
That's how it works.
It says here it's also a one-time payment that you can also use the speech challenge game to negotiate over, and some traits also affect
I get
the
him
cost.
for lower.
Yeah, you can get
him for lower,
or maybe higher.
Work for me for free, or I kill your wife. Do I get to do that option?
No, maybe. Who knows, right? And then the last question is companion skills, right? It says, well, our companions will be able to level up their perks. He says.
Does anybody else feel like that's mental?
What's
anybody
that?
else in chat know what I'm talking about? Like, that doesn't sound right to me.
What,
pay for them once.
Pay once, yeah. It says, will our companions be able to level up their perks, or will their perks stack with ours? They say all crew starts with a set of skills and specific ranks. So you might meet a character that's specifically good at rifles, and you can then hire them to watch your back, or you might meet a guy who's got good skills and increase your gravi jump in range, so your ship can jump farther, right? So the levels don't level up with your characters. I'm okay with this, because the way I look at it is, if they put so many companions in the game, they don't want
red shirts.
Yeah, they
don't
want that one to rule them all type of thing, right? So, like, for instance, in Fallout 3, I give an example of, I would always have the mutant with me, because he had the Gatling gun on him, and he just mowed down everybody, and his health was so high that he was like the answer to everything, right? Because you're always fighting. In this game, if you find someone that's a rifle guy, then he's good at rifle. If you find someone that's better at shields, you want them on your ship. If you find someone that's a better talker, you want them on there because it helps your skills as well. So they're like a bonus on top of your skills as well.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. You shouldn't be able to Uber your own guys.
Right.
They grew up, they learned what they learned, and at the moment you receive them, this is their stats, this is what they're good at, this is what they're not good at.
Right.
I get it, right? That sounds kind of realistic, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm okay with it.
That sounds pretty realistic, right? But paying a guy a salary to work for you is too complex, right? So if I play the game for 10 hours, actual in-game time is 10 hours, then the guy would get paid 10 hours worth of his salary.
As long as you were doing jobs to get paid, yeah.
Well, if I'm at that level.
Well,
you're not just getting a bunch of people when you're broke.
I got
and
you.
Then have to pay them. Yeah. Well, when you get well off and you're your job is to fucking smuggle. I'm sure you're robbing people all day long.
This is why
my point is to get rid of the payments. Meanwhile, you want a super detailed construction of all ships, super detailed of the house I live in, super detailed of the classes of the guys and what weapons and things that they use. But to pay a guy, for working for me is the deal breaker of the game.
Yeah,
so we're gonna get rid of that part.
So I find it funny because they go into so in depth with certain things, like the religion and how things work, and they have backstories of the cities and the stories of stuff. And I compared it to like good storytelling compared to like what Tolkien did with Lord of the Rings, compared to somebody else that just writes a story and doesn't do the backstory. Like they're like, he walked into the bakery, and the baker has 2 kids and a family, and the family, he goes into detail of what the family does for, Timmy goes to school, and right. That's the type of detail Starfield's doing with the storytelling, and this is why I think Starfield's going to have a great story. Okay, I think it's going to have a phenomenal single-player story because of the detail they're putting in. They released a whole timeline of like 125 years or 200 years of the backstory of where you are in the timeline. Okay. They have all the storylines of these backstories of everybody in there. But you're right. They make it so realistic at certain parts, and then they look at this and go, it's a one-time payment. Right? And that to me is like I know it's not a big deal for a lot of people. And it's not really a big deal to me, but it's just kind of weird where they choose and pick and choose what's realistic and then what's not realistic.
I would think you'd want it almost like Fable, or the other game was a Dying Light, where if you choose a certain thing to do on a planet, and you keep choosing that direction, that the planet becomes either more profitable, or it becomes a slumlordville, or it becomes like a casino world because you took over, but you're an evil bastard and you charge high taxes, and so the town starts off as like a neutral thing, right? And then either you make it better than it is, or you make it worse than it is. Like that to me,
sort of like what we did in
interesting.
Fable with the real estate, to make it look shitty.
Yeah. I think that would be cool if you're some kind of super crime lord and then you're in charge of everything and you start buying up stuff. Like, but that's a whole nother level of the game that you're thinking about. Can I do that?
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Can I do that?
We're not getting bent out of shape, right? What we're talking about is that themselves have said how you're not playing a game.
It's just what they decide to leave out.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
They say that you're not playing a game, you're playing an experience. This is their words. This is their words, not mine, right? You're playing an experience. We don't want you to sit and play a game, is what they said. We want you to sit and have an experience. Like you're going into this like second world. You're like living the fantasy. And they talk about headcanon and how it makes it where you can create the character that you want. If you want to be a smuggler, one of the questions is here. Hold on, let me go to the very top. Okay. He says, what's your character's name? Where is it? And he talks about, yeah, okay. So he asks, what do we need to know first? He says, we always make our games for fans both old and new. So you could jump in without ever having played Bethesda titles before. So if you're a person that's not fascinated by the backstories of their games, then by all means, just jump in. But if you're me and Sarge, and they make their games so detailed, like Skyrim and Fallout and stuff like that, in certain aspects, our expectations are a little higher than some other people, and that's okay, because that's who they're making the game for new and old. So to look like less playing of a game and more about living in the universe that we created. So settle in, go at your own pace, and pretty soon you'll learn all the systems and be adventuring through the settled systems the way you choose, right? As for going as a character backstory, the entirely up to you. I'm all about headcanon, okay? For example, my latest character is working schlub named Mitch Dombrowski. Okay, he's a husky, good-natured space trucker, and while he'll do whatever it needs to do to defend himself, he'll never shoot first. He's like Han Solo, Sweeter's older brother. And yes, there's traits and backgrounds to support that kind of thing. So what they're setting the tone right there is you can make the headcanon of what your backstory is, and you can do it because there's certain traits that can make these things happen. So when you take the amount of detail and put it into this game for certain things, and then we had a conversation a couple months ago where they say you don't run out of fuel because fuel was too absurd. They'd be like, you would just be stranded out in space because you forgot to do gas. That is a choice they made because it's a video game, right? Now with the price of paying your employees, they're giving you employees, but you only pay them once. It's like realistic, but it's not realistic. And it's like, where do you want to fall in the line of a video game / whatever? Go ahead, Sarge.
Did they really say that they took out fuel because they were worried about running out of fuel if they went
Yes.
someplace?
Yes.
So are we thinking that we're colonizing other planets and we're still using like diesel for rockets? Like, wouldn't there be like some kind of nuclear power, fusion power, some kind of fission power?
Said
like, do you worried about fuel?
Well, they said
like,
it wouldn't be fun. They said it wouldn't be fun to run out. And I have to admit,
that's great. Make an engine that doesn't use the fuel you think you need to fucking refuel.
In No Man's Sky,
what are you talking about?
In No Man's Sky, you run out of fuel. And sometimes if you're not paying attention, then you have to stop doing what you're doing. And you have to run around and grab materials just so you can make all the stuff, just so you can get off the planet. You can't even lift off the planet. You're stuck and stranded on the planet.
Sometimes engineers and developers, I think they all sit in a room together, but no one actually asks them the question that stops them from talking this way.
Well, it's funny.
What's happening right now, what you're describing is like there's 8 guys in a room. They all think the same, and nobody said, "Hey, why is there gas?" Like, what are you talking about?
What I find fascinating, chat, is that you guys think that I'm not the one that brought in how folding space when you travel, right? Todd Howard literally said that when you're in the game, you're folding space as you go through it to go faster when you travel far distances. They put the detail of folding space in a video game, but paying for your guys is just too much.
I don't care. Listen, I don't give a shit about fuel costs.
Right.
You can make an engine that doesn't have any fuel. That problem is solved. If we're traveling the universe looking to get some places, I'm pretty sure we found a fuel source that we don't have to worry about running out of gas wherever we're going. Like, come on, man. It just sounds dumb. It sounds dumb that that's an actual thing. Like, I'm glad you took it out, but just put the engine or the fuel source in there. It doesn't run out. Like every sci-fi thing does it.
And Boo Inc. says, yeah, ran out of fuel in Elite Dangerous once. It's a lot less fun than it sounds. I'd self-destructed my ship and paid a hefty cost for the rebuy. Right?
Why did you self-destruct? Isn't there a space tow truck? Well, I don't understand. What do you mean you had to self-destruct it? Was because someone would take it? You would rather have blown it up than someone take it?
Kylo, we're not upset. We're having a conversation about the amount of detail they put in the game, but you didn't take out certain things. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Starfield is a 2 out of 10. Didn't pay a salary for my guy, right?
Because you want me to hire space Mexicans. That's why
we're
you made
just
the game too unrealistic.
we're just making light conversation because of they literally thought about how space folds and how realistic it is, but they're like, nah, you can't pay salary. So
it sounds funny to me, man. It just why even bother even speaking about it? We didn't want you to run out of fuel. Great, don't put fuel in the game. Problem solved.
Well, there's fuel. There's still fuel in the game. You just can't run out of it.
Right. You just don't worry about it. Right. I got it.
Right, Jones. That's what we're saying, right? Agree with you guys. You have to pay like a storage fee or whatever, something, right? That's all I'm saying. It just feels weird that you're so detailed in the game, and then the
pick a lane.
Yeah,
Pick a lane.
That's all we're saying. Maybe you shouldn't have spent so much time on the quantum physics of folding space and just make it a load screen to go to the next location, right? Right?
Low budget folding space, just some kid folding over a piece of black paper.
That's all I'm saying.
It just shows him doing this, and then it goes black, and it's a load screen.
There's a difference between creating lore for the game and then making game mechanics. Mantis, again, I'm not the one that said that it's, again, let me read the quote to you, right? It's less than playing a game, less at playing a game, and more about living in the universe we created. Right? That's them saying
a universe where there's no fuel and you don't have to pay people to work.
You're defending something that I'm just talking about, that they wanted to make the most realistic thing possible, and they're saying it's not really a game. It's play. You're gonna go into this universe and just explore and be what it is. It's less of a game and more of a living universe that we created. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
So you have all these religions, you have all these things, you have all these backstories, you're folding space.
Very detailed.
But
free labor, free fuel. Free labor, free fuel, everything else very detailed.
Yeah.
Like, listen, we know they had to cut corners. That's where they decided. They're going to cut the corners. Is paying people to work and fuel. That's fine. Everything else, super religious. You have all kinds of religions. Things very detailed. Got it.
Super detailed, and I'm excited about it because
good.
When I played Mass Effect, I had this headcanon of I was like Captain Kirk / Han Solo type of thing, right? But you only
is that how you're going to play?
That's how I'm going to play. I'm Jack Burton, space trucker. Okay, just like he was a truck driver. I'm a space trucker, but he's going to be like Captain Kirk, Han Solo ish, where I'm gonna make my character and try to act like him as we go through. Right? He's got no voice, so I got to pick the dialogue and stuff that he is.
No friends.
We're all dumb. I mean, sure, I guess we're entertaining. I mean, who's dumber? Who's dumber here? Us or people tuning in for us? I don't know. You decide.
Okay, so Anubu, I'm confused though. Like that's your only option? Like there's no cheat, like just turn off the game, reboot, like reload. It's because it's perpetual, right? So I'm confused though.
He had to wait wait 50 minutes of life support or go down and blow it up.
Right. So my question is,
so how much money did you spend, and how much time would it take you? Would it take 50 minutes to make that money back, or is it faster to make the money back than just?
That sounds like a critical decision there. You have to blow up
your own ship. So if it took you 50 minutes, or blow it up, and then you had the money already, and how much time would it take you to make that money back that you had to pay for a new ship?
That's crazy. You were flying high again, weren't you? That's what happens in Elite Dangerous. You're too high. And
faster
you
to make it back.
Fuel.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, that to me is a bad choice, right? That's a bad choice. It's easier to make the money back.
But there's consequences for your actions. That's realistic.
Right.
At least there's consequences for your actions. Apparently, there's no jail time and no gas stations.
Pixel. Pixel, here's the thing, right? Who cares? It's a game. Who cares? It's a podcast. We're having a conversation. Who cares? Who cares? If you don't like what we're saying, bye-bye. Bye-bye. We're having fun talking. See you later. Who cares? It's just a podcast talking about video games. Don't get so bent out of shape of the conversations we have. Speaking of questions, if you have a question, you can put it in the Q&A. We have two questions. We have one from Krebsy. He says, did either of you see Oppenheimer? And if so, what were your thoughts on it, good or bad. I didn't see it. Did you see Oppenheimer? It's
No.
not really a movie you take your 8-year-old to, so I
No.
can't really go see Oppenheimer.
I heard it was very good and it was done very well. I'm not sure of the historical accuracy because it's been a while since I studied that part of history, but I heard it was very good.
I know
It
a
was
lot
done
of people
very
are
well.
upset because they thought they were going to see more about the bomb and not like it's
But the
literally called
bomb,
Oppenheimer. It's about
bomb,
Oppenheimer, not
yeah, but the
about the bomb
bomb,
itself. It's about
yeah,
how Oppenheimer came about creating the bomb and the struggles he had to do when he did it.
and for the time period that they were doing it in,
Right, right.
right? Right. Because they were basically trying to do something that was never done before because they were scared that other countries were doing the same thing. So they thought they were in an arms race to protect themselves, basically. And
Right.
then when they found, then they found out when they were first, they decided that, well, we could use this to end the war. Right. This is statistics of humanity. That if we do this, then we can change the world. We can end the world sooner and save a bunch of lives. But what they really did is start a Cold War that lasted 60 years or
Yeah,
50 years.
I'm gonna have to wait to see it when it comes out. I think it should come out pretty soon. I mean, it's been out in theaters for almost a month, I think now. I am excited to see it, but I haven't seen it. But I heard it was really good. Next question is, how do you think Series S will affect the next console generation? We already have people conditioning the Series S and might expect the Series S for next gen. What do you mean by that, Krebsy? Do you mean that what the Series S is doing for this generation, you're saying it's conditioning people so they could just make another S for the next generation? Is that what you're saying? Like a lower tier next gen box, and that's going to be the standard? Is that what you're saying?
No.
You don't have to put it in questions. You could just put it in chat.
No. Listen, I think
he says people got conditioned for the price of the Series S, and it's better saturation than the Series X. Yeah, 2 to 1. I think it's 2 to 1. And the people that have the S, half of the people. So let's say there's 21 million units out there. 11 million units are the Series S, right? And the other half. Oh no, it's double. I'm sorry, it's like literally like 2 to 1. So. And then half of that of the Series S's are brand new people for the Xbox ecosystem. They've never been on Xbox before. So
right, that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
And I think that's the conditioning part, right?
And there's two things to look at here. The people that like Microsoft and want an Xbox, you never even thought about getting the S. You knew what was the story was going to be. You got the X. Now, of course, there were outside factors influencing it. Transportation problems, chip problems, the COVID problem. There's a bunch of things happened that the units weren't mass produced fast enough during the time that it was released, right? But at the same time, that helped Microsoft because people didn't have a lot of disposable income. And the S was an easy way to get entertainment, especially if you were just starting out, you had kids, or you had no idea what it was. Why spend $5 when I can spend $3 and I don't know anything about it? Right. But then they got you into the ecosystem.
That's the dirty part for me. It's almost like Redfall for the actual consoles, right? They could sell you Redfall for full price, and it's also on Game Pass, right? It was like the Trojan horse that's going to break Microsoft's business model, right? Because the Series S is like a Trojan horse, because you have to, no matter what happens, they have them connected, the X and the S connected. So if they continue doing what they're doing, they're going to hurt themselves with the X, because why? If they come out with the next generation, as Krebsy's asking, right? They make a series.
There won't be a Series
whatever.
S. I don't think they're going
if
to be.
There is a Series X2, right? A Series X2. Am I going to buy that as a person that's already invested in Xbox? Am I going to buy the next Xbox after they already screwed me over when I bought the higher end Xbox? Right? No, I'm not, because now I need to see what you're doing. I don't trust you anymore. You've lost me as a consumer. I'm not going to blindly listen to you anymore when you tell me that this is the most powerful system and you can play these games up to this ability, when it's not happening, because now we're being punished as Xbox Series X buyers. We're being punished because of the Series S. I don't know. I think it would just be stupid. This is what I think they should have done. I've said this in the past before the system came out. I thought there was going to be 4 things, but I didn't know there was going to be a S that was going to be that much lower. This is before they even announced the S and S. This is when it was called Anaconda, and I forget what the other one, what the other top tier one was called, right? I thought it was 2 versions as of the Anaconda was the diskless drive and then the disk drive. And I said that there was going to be the one version with the disk drive and one version without the disk drive. Then it came out that they were making the S and the X, and I thought they were the same. And then we found out they weren't the same. And then finally, not at all. Okay. But I thought they were going to make a high tier X, right? With disk and without disk.
Yeah, but I thought, let's put it this way. Everyone thought that the S was the X and the X was the premium version of that.
Scarlet. Thank you. Scarlet Scorpion. Thank you.
Instead, the X was the real system and the S is this little
it's
mental
weird.
case. This mental case that's like, but they did it on purpose, man. They got exactly what they wanted. They got an influx of people that didn't buy the console for a lower price point and put them into their ecosystem by giving them Game Pass. It's cut and dry. The only people that are mad about the S are the ones that understand consoles now and realize what the difference between the X and the S is. Otherwise, you're happy with your S. They're all happy with it. Otherwise, they'd be returning them.
This is be interesting because I've said it in the past, and I know a lot of you guys push back on this because you say the technology is not there yet. But Starfield's coming out on Samsung televisions in just a couple of weeks, right? People are playing it, play testing it right now on the Samsung television. Okay, that's cloud gaming. And someone told me earlier, and I don't know if it's true, but they said that the Starfield will be able to play on the Xbox One through the cloud. Okay, which is the last system before the S and X. Okay, they have the Keystone, so smooth. Okay, that little box that they didn't put out yet because they said they couldn't get the price point down far enough. Okay, so to answer Krebsy's question, is there going to be a Series S of the next generation?
Hopefully
I think there's going to be this generation, later in the lifespan of this generation. I think they released that Keystone project where it's just a dongle that you plug into your television and it's cloud. It's just cloud coming straight to that device, which is even less powerful than, well, actually it would be more powerful because you're running on their systems, right? Because it's being streamed from cloud services, right? So that would be interesting to see if they release something like that in the next generation, where, get this, maybe it's no longer the X, maybe it's the S physical and the dongle, which is the Keystone, Project Keystone, where now it's just reality and cloud-based, and that's the way they go.
I'm thinking that the turn of the corner here is whether or not they're able to get that data transfer for cloud gaming to work that they kept talking about.
I mean, both companies are investing big time in cloud gaming.
That's the deciding factor. If they're able to do that data transfer in cloud gaming and they get that to work, then there's no more need for consoles.
I think
so. That's the deciding factor.
I think there will always be consoles. They just be like record players.
Nope, don't think so. Because if you lose money every time you make a console and you find a way for everyone to play the same games without having to sell a console, then you would not make a console.
Well, Xbox makes money on the S's. They don't lose money on the S's.
Well, it's because it's a piece of shit.
Right. They lose money on the higher end.
Of course you're making money on it because you don't put all the quality stuff that's in it. That's called business 101. I sell a crappy sandwich for $24. Yeah, I'm making money.
Yeah, so that's the bonus for them, and this is why they want to push the cloud gaming, because that's no physical discs, no physical stuff. They can charge more. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the cloud gaming, if it works, it's going to be expensive. So that could be top tier, right? If you want cloud gaming, you have to pay for Ultimate.
But everything that they've done since the S has come out has been a slow manipulation of why you want the S over the X. Right? They're telling you that games don't come out correct anymore. Why pay for the game?
Right.
Right?
Make the problem, sell the solution.
And then they sell you the solution. Right? That's basically what this is. They tell you the next game's coming out. You tell me it's not coming out for my Xbox. Why isn't it coming out for my Xbox? Well, because it doesn't work for the S. Well, then why the fuck do I have an Xbox? Right? Then they have the other system of games come out like, well, I have the S, but I don't have a disk drive, but it doesn't run on my, why do I want this? Like, that's how I look at it. Like, why do I want something that doesn't work on? What do I have this for?
Well,
I have it because I have 2 kids and they're always up my ass. And for $15 a month, they've got a whole shit ton of games that they could play and leave Dad alone. Point proven. 100%. I get it. I get why the S exists. But for gamers who want a system, a console in their house for gaming, PlayStation wins hands down, because you're not giving me anything from my Xbox.
Right.
Because you already told me that if it doesn't work on both, I'm not going to release it. Well, I guess I'm not getting it then.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I think most people don't care, honestly, because obviously most people don't care that Forza Motorsports is coming out incomplete with features. Most people didn't care that Halo came out with less features. Most people didn't care about Battlefield that came out with less features. Most people didn't care about certain. So why would they give a shit if the majority of the Xbox player base doesn't care about missing features? 2-1. 2-1. People have the S's over the X's, okay? And they don't care about missing features.
And they don't care.
Right.
Because they're not gamers. If they were gamers, they'd be
no,
like,
even if
why
they
did
are
I buy
gamers,
this
they
piece
just
of
don't care.
shit?
They just don't care. They're just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's the cons are not more than the pros are don't outweigh the cons, or vice versa. The cons don't outweigh the pros. Right?
It's still sad. It's the way it's set up. It's the way that it's set up that pisses me off. You're basically lowering standards, getting people comfortable with lowered standards, and then sell them crappy products, and then want them to buy the unit that doesn't. Yeah, like you don't. It's almost like they don't want you to buy the game at all. They just want you perpetually in Game Pass, period. They don't want you buying the $70 game. They're willing to risk it. They're willing to risk you not buying any more games just so you have the S, so you can always come to them for whatever.
What do you
that's
mean?
what they want.
What do you mean, Pixel? When games add new features, you get upset, 30? What do you mean? I get upset. I get upset when a game comes out missing features and then they update it 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, 18 months afterwards. Yeah. I gave you the full money up front for the game.
I want the game.
I want the game. Do you buy a car with 3 tires and then get the 4th one 6 months later? When you do you buy a burger that's half a burger?
Lean back a little bit. It won't go that way.
Like, I paid full price for a game. I want the entire game. That's not hard to ask for, right? Missing features for a game that's $70, $90, $125 for Battlefield 2042, right? $90 for Diablo, and it's missing features, missing stashes, missing. It's like, what are we doing? Why did I stop Diablo? I beat Diablo. I beat it. I put 160 hours into the game. That's why I stopped playing Diablo. The seasons don't interest me, because it's the same stuff I already did during the regular game. Why do I need to continue Diablo? What is Diablo doing for me? Do I need to check in? Is it for my next business resume? Someone going to come up to me and be like, "Says here you didn't play season 1 of Diablo. We don't really like people that didn't play Diablo. You can't work here." Like, I don't know what you're asking. I played it because I beat it. I beat the game. I moved on. They're adding you pulled out. Where's the line? Consumers' mentality in gaming gives me headaches. When you buy a house, a car, a couch, you look into it, the item you're buying, and make sure it isn't shit. Yeah, it's the video games is the only space I know that people don't care for a good product. They just want the product. They're like addicts so bad. They're just like, I just want the new thing. Give me the new thing, right? When you pick fruit, you look at the fruit. You don't pick the ones with the rotten core and like smells like shit or soft. You pick the ones that are really good because you want good food, right? You buy a car, you get a movie, you go to if there's popcorn on the fucking seats in the movie theater, you go outside and go, hey, the theater's a mess. I paid money to see this movie. I want to see it not in a pigsty, right? Not video games. Video games like missing features comes out 6 months from now, 12 months from now. I'm good. Yeah, here. What you want? $70? Here's 70. Oh wait, season pass. Here's $20 more. Wait, microtransaction. There you go. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, just eat around the poop. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Oh, what's that? Just push that to the side. Don't worry.
All right, next
about
question. It's 10:30.
There's no other questions. There's no other questions. That's it.
All right, good.
All right. Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. It's in the actual title. We rant along the way. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you didn't like it, see you later. If you otherwise, come on back. We're live Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the subscribe button. If you want to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. Appreciate it very much. Make sure you can watch us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. You can also watch us on Spotify, the video format as well. 361 is in the can. We do appreciate you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to be streaming. Tomorrow evening. We're going to probably finish out Transformers Fall of Cybertron. So stay tuned for that. And then next week, we have Gamescom. I'm going to try to stream Gamescom live. We're going to have the wife try to pick up the kid during that day. So we're going to do Gamescom live on Tuesday. Appreciate it very much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Game on, guys.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.